Yo, what up? What up? What up?
What's
Shout out
going
everybody.
on?
Shout out everybody in the building. Are you guys ready for another now becoming, a staple of the platform, man? Tinfoil Tuesdays. My man last year Devious Gaming, man. He said we was talking about I think what UFOs came up when we was talking about the flat earth. My man said he was all for it to talk about them UFOs, man. So he will be driving the bus for us today.
And last year,
Oh,
Devious
whoa, I'm
game.
tripping. I'm rookieing it up right now. Okay, there we go.
This
Uh,
only like my second time using this StreamYard, so I get it.
yeah, I thought it already muted it, but yeah. But yeah, man. Appreciate everybody that's in the building. Hit the like button as you come in. We'll give it a little minute before everybody come in, probably about 3 minutes or so, and then we'll get into it, bro.
Okay. All right. What's up, salute to everybody in the chat. SKC, that's my man. That's everybody's man, so. I'm gonna say normally I don't come on panels, most of the time just because I'm not really a man of words so much, but I'm always in the comments and in the chat. I try to have something to say of worth in the chat if I ain't joking around or whatever. And I just want to say I thank you for having me come on up here, and I enjoy your content and everything, and just want to let you know that.
Appreciate that, bro. Not a problem. Appreciate you, man. Like I said, I don't really have content without people to watch it. So, like I said, when people want to come up and participate, especially like I said in something like this where everybody gets interested and everybody likes to get involved and participate, man. That's a cool thing. So, I greatly appreciate you, bro.
Thank you, thank you. So, where you want to go from here?
However you want to get into it, man. At least you said so you were interested. You say you wanted to talk about UFOs and whatnot, what have you. What was your first, I guess, your first encounter or you first hearing even about what a UFO was?
Well, it was when I was a kid, really. My old man, he's a Navy man like you. He was into it, and like back in the '80s when I was a kid, when he would always get the movies like some of them older movies like Communion, where they was talking about aliens abducting people and stuff like that. And then I think it was like in '91, '92, it was this movie called Fire in the Sky about this cat that supposedly, I say allegedly, supposedly got abducted by aliens, and then they actually brought him back, and he, kind of he put the book out first, and then they made a movie about it of him telling his story. And then throughout the '90s, in the teens, we had the X Files. Um, what else? Yes, the X Files. It was a lot of alien content back then during the '90s. I remember Fox had this special on like alien, they had like an alien autopsy, and everybody knew it was kind of fake, for entertainment or whatever. But I mean, that kind of stuff always kind of piqued my interest and stuff. So it's something that like I always would. While I was in college and high school and stuff, you get books and then you read about them on the side just for entertainment, and then you start delving more and more into it, and you get to learning about the things that happened in the past, like Roswell and stuff like that, and all that's known information now, about Roswell 1947, New Mexico supposed alien crash, and then you think about how everything extrapolates from then, like how our like after that crash, like how our technology changed, and we went from punch card computers the size of buildings to um, micro transistors and transistor chip technology, and you think like, okay, well they had to have gathered something from the remains to learn and kind of reverse engineer to learn new things to help our technology make the leaps and jumps that it did make over the past decades from say, the late 1950s on. And then, you fall down that rabbit hole of, so if this happened, how did this happen? And then if this happened, how did this happen? And then there was one major incident happened in, like, I think it was 1989, and I was watching it with my dad. It was this guy by the name of Bob Lazar. I don't know if you familiar with the name. And he basically did a live news report saying that, he worked at S4, which would be Site 4, which is what we would call Area 51 today, in the Nevada desert. And with remains of that crash that they had, he was there basically as to help reverse engineer stuff. And supposedly he predicted the what is it? He predicted the invention of element 115, which supposedly was synthesized back then. But if you look at history and science now, it's saying it was just synthesized 2 or 3 years ago, and it's unstable. But supposedly they had a stable version of it at the same time. And he kind of broke the press with this. He was like the UFO whistleblower. And that kind of blew my mind. I was a kid. I was 9, 10, 11 years old watching this, and it just became a permanent one of my nerdy exploits, if you will. And from that point on, it was just, I figured, I have to look into this stuff and read everything I can about it. And of course, I go by the philosophy of read everything and then use Occam's razor to sift out the bullshit. Sorry about the cursing and all that.
No, you bro, trust me, that's definitely nothing. Come on now.
But it was like, you want to sift out the crap and come up with your own conclusions to it. Because you can't just believe anything anybody says, because you got whack cases out there. It's entertaining, but on what is it, History Channel, the Ancient Aliens.
Yeah, the dude with the hairline with that.
Yeah, that fool.
But he looked like one of the Klingons, like one of the Klingons from Star Trek with that hairline, bro.
Yeah, with the big bouffant or whatever that is.
Yeah.
And dude, if you leave it up to him, he'll say everything aliens. We don't have any as human beings, we don't have any kind of say in our own evolution of whether it's technology or architecture or agriculture, anything to that effect. So, if you listen to that, I mean, it's funny, and they always hit you with what's that saying? They say ancient aliens, astronaut theorists believe, and it's like, okay, what is it this time? But from the more serious works, like the works of like people like Adam Frank, and like I said, like Bob Lazar, when he's on, he's on. They had him on Joe Rogan just a few months back, and he's been telling the same story since the 90s. And now you can look at that two ways. You can say, you can say, yeah, he's been telling the same story, and he's told it so much that, of course, he got it down pat. But I mean, for the feds to raise his house looking for element 115, and him and that other guy, the reporter George Knapp, that's a good friend of his. The story is basically he lost the element 115 that he had, but then there's a video of him, pushing electricity through it and making it a semiconductor and everything. If you, it's this director named Jeremy Corbell out there, and he worked with Bob Lazar, George Knapp, and a lot of these other guys, because I guess that's his field of, just kind of chasing down the whole alien philosophies and things that's going on. And after working with them, I guess he got like a small video clip of it. And if you go on, the movie is on Netflix right now. It's I forget the name of it. It's Jeremy Corbell and Bob Lazar and aliens. I mean, it's easy to look up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's 2 hours of him and live footage of him interviewing Bob, and this dude is a genius. I mean, he was like putting jets and rocket propulsion on Hondas just as a hobby, when he was in his 20s and all that. Uh, Supposedly he came out of MIT, and then like a lot of his records got erased. And he also was said to have worked at Los Alamos Laboratory, National Laboratory in New Mexico, and I guess it was a cover up about it, saying that he was never here until like a few of the physicists came out just a couple of years ago. Like, yeah, he was one of our main guys that was doing particle physics in his early 20s. This dude is a genius, and he ain't lying about any of that other shit he was talking about.
All right, so real quick, so yeah, people are starting to bring it up in the chat also. So you definitely believe, and actually, like I said, the Navy just came out this year declassifying information and actual footage of quote unquote UFOs from from the fucking federal government. So the fact that there's something out there that people can't explain and defies, like you said, physics and all types of aeronautics and technology of humankind is without a doubt, that's a fact. Okay, so that can't be denied.
No,
but
not at all.
Can you have a UFO without quote unquote aliens? What's your take on aliens?
Okay, now that's the point that I wanted to get to. Now, when we say UFOs, that's just unidentified flying object. That can be anything. It could be a quote unquote weather balloon, like they said in 1947 before it came out in the newspaper that it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But now, when you're talking about aliens, you're talking about what commonly known in the parlance as EBEs, or extraterrestrial biological entities. Now, and for we'll say aliens for short. Do they exist? I'll put it to you like this: you exist, I exist. There's 7 million people on this rock, not to mention however many billions of other animal creatures, bacteria, just on this one rock that we live on. Now, if you look at our Milky Way galaxy, it's over 100 billion stars. Just with telescopes, we found over 4,000 rocky type planets, the same as ours, with inhabitable zones, which what we would call similar sized Earths. And we found 4,000 just in our local area, which is a space of maybe like 1 to 7 parsecs, round in 3D, because it's third dimension or whatever. So if we can look at our galaxy of 100 billion stars, know we exist, know it's all these other planets that exist, and then there's 100 billion more galaxies in the known universe. So you got 100 billion stars times 100 billion stars. I mean, if you multiply that, the number is what they call a Google. It's unfathomable to even think about how large that number is.
Yeah,
I think it'd be complete hubris and folly to think that we are the only intelligent creatures that exist in this universe. Now,
and
as for
I think they actually did a in one of the computers that you said too, like where they asked one of the mega computers a question, is if there was life outside of the outside of our outside of planet outside of the Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Came back with 1, and it's binary, of course. So anything other than 0 or whatnot would pretty much equate to a yes. So
right, that's the Drake equation.
Yeah,
Written by Drake in the 1970s. He worked closely with Carl Sagan. The Drake equation, I mean, it proves that the fact that we exist means that somebody else exists. Now, as for, being visited by people, and I mean, I still have some skepticism behind that, but I find it enjoyable to think about.
Okay.
Plus, I mean,
So
you know, now at this point, we have so many different videos, and it's not those, you know, potato looking videos from like the
exactly.
80s and the
Yeah,
90s.
yeah, you got
I
high
mean,
def.
we got people, you know, our phones got 100x zoom cameras on it now. I mean, I have a list here sitting in front of me of like a collection of at least 45 videos taken within the past decade of all kinds of not so much encounters but sites. Plus you have large undeniable sites like in Phoenix in 1997. They saw the lights in the supposed ships from Phoenix, New Mexico, and uh, northern Mexico around like Sonoma or whatever. So to say that we are alone, no, I mean I highly doubt it. But you know, to say that we've been visited a million times by all these millions of races, I mean, I think that's a lot of that is science fiction, though.
Okay, all right. So from the UFO aspect of it, and you touched on it earlier, as far as like a correlation, not necessarily direct, but you could you know, narrow it down to the first time of us actually hearing or the government acknowledging, you know, UFO activity, and then like you saying, the springboarding or the leapfrogging of human technology. Um, it's quite interesting, like you said, the way you jump from this technological advancement, and you know, the easiest way. And I don't know. So are you? What's your field of work? Because I mean, you're very, very well versed. Like, sound like you're some type of engineer, or you have an engineering background.
Oh
Or
no, I'm a retired accountant. I'm a day trader. I sit
oh,
at the
okay,
crib and play video games and trade stocks. That's what I do.
okay. Well,
And listen to y'all niggas.
you definitely versed in tech. Okay, so being as you're versed in tech, I don't think people understand the simplicity but the brilliance in reverse engineering. Again, for someone to make something and pretty much you break it down, see what it is, and pretty much just recreate what you already see before you if it's something you don't already, you know or understand yourself. And it even goes further than that to than just, you know, technology. Actually, I think people do the same thing with music compositions and things or sound like that also, right? So what do you think, or what how are we able to, how were they able to fool the people? How about that one? How were they able to lie to the people? Because again, I like what the first acknowledgments that what Area 51 was a real thing didn't happen to when, like the 70s, or was it the 80s?
It was the 80s. I mean,
Yeah, the
pretty
80s.
much like the Bob Lazar guy pretty much broke it
Uh-huh.
in '89
And
that
it
it
been
actually did exist.
and it been being denied by the government for what, 40 years or more, at least 40, 30 to 40
Yeah,
years,
at
right?
least 40. At least
Okay.
40 years prior, yeah.
So okay, so again, so then another big thing too, like, you know, nuclear energy was a huge thing too. I don't think people you know, you went from everything from the microwave to now, you know, nuclear fission and actual nuclear propulsed machinery, you know, stuff to where you're literally running machines and entire towns off of nuclear energy. So
Well,
go ahead.
now with nuclear energy and stuff like that, I think that that was more gradual because that started in the late 1800s with like Mary Curie and radium and you know, them having all the radioactive elements back then. I mean, you can find it in the earth if you dig deep enough. So I think that was more of a gradual thing, and it built up to, well, you know, nuclear fission and fusion. You know,
Mhm.
and plus, you know, with towns being run off electricity, Tesla was doing that in the late 1800s in Colorado because there was a big competition between him and Edison on how to deliver electricity, whether it be AC or DC, when Edison killed that elephant using Tesla's electricity or DC current to kill an elephant, saying how dangerous it was and that his AC alternating current would be better. And that, I mean, granted, now today we picked up on both of them because we find that, you know, different types of technology use different ones. Like, I mean, I'm sure you got a game system in your house, and if you look at the plug, you see that it's a DC plug because it's direct current. Because you need direct current to keep it where you can put it in a state of like a sleep state. Whereas with something running on alternating current is on off, period.
Exactly. So we talked a little bit about so let me see, what did you cover? What did you miss? You talked about X-Files, you talked about so what do you think, how big of an impact did UFOs have on entertainment? Because if you think about it, like I said, ET was the first time I ever heard of a space UFO or aliens, right? Then I think you could argue definitely outside of ET, the I think the 1 and 2 definitely top alien related forms of media would be ET and Independence Day.
Those are a couple of the big ones, but prior to ET, you also had Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Remember when the one kid kept building a mountain out of his potatoes, and then his son and dude took his son out to the mountains, and then the aliens landed, and they was playing their music, doo, 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 and all that shit. And then we got the Aliens movies, like Roscoe just kicked in the chat. The first Alien movie was what, 1979?
Whoa, that early? It was 79?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sigourney Weaver. Alien, yeah, 1979.
Yeah, I know it was that early. Damn. So okay, so we got with the UFOs, okay, especially so now more so today, and you have the actual confirming of it with the government. And I don't know if you remember this recently. Did they ever find out what that was? Like, I think like a month ago or a month and a half ago, what that was over the city and wherever it was, where everybody was stopping cars and shit and videotaping it. Did they ever say what that was?
That I have to say I haven't seen. I have to go look for it. I haven't actually seen that one. You said it was last month?
Yeah, I said it was in the last 2 months. Y'all know what I'm talking about in the chat. Did anybody ever figure out what that was? I forget if it was Texas or I think it might have been Texas or it might have been New Jersey. I forget which one it was, but
if it was in Texas, I'm in Texas. I'd have known about that.
Let me Google it. Let me see. Shoot, it says no, not 2019. Okay, no, they said it was a Goodyear blimp. Okay, never mind. Yeah, in New Jersey, that's what it was.
Ain't that what they always say it is? Something else?
Yeah.
Like in 1947, it was just a weather balloon.
You can see it. It actually looks like a blimp, though. If you're looking from the thing from now, I don't know if I'm looking at the side of it, but yeah, they said it was a blimp.
Now think about that. You say it's a blimp, or it looked like a blimp, right? Now we got this commander, Commander Fraser. He's in the Air Force. In 2004, he was flying, and he had somebody. It was him, and say, you know how you look at, well, you know, you looking at a clock basically, and if he had the 6, it was somebody in the center, and then his partner was on the 3. And they was flying, and they saw this thing, and they said basically it looked like a giant Tic Tac. And they released, well, that footage just got released. It happened in 2004. I actually got the video of when he was on Joe Rogan, as well as when he was on Tucker Carlson talking about him.
Yeah, and I've actually had and I don't know if people remember this from Bill Cooper and Behold the Pale Horse. Bill Cooper talked about that in his book about how he had seen multiple UFOs. What I won't say multiple, I know at least one because he was a submariner. He said he saw one time where they pulled out somewhere and just out at sea. And I've actually heard pilots say the same thing in the Navy about, especially when they're out at sea and they use FLIR, right? So forward laser infrared forward laser infrared. Okay, so pretty much like it's something that makes it pretty much turns it pretty much like night vision, but it's a heat sensor or whatever the hell you're looking at, right?
Right.
So they were saying as long as they was looking at it but not looking at it with the FLIR, they was good. But it's like it recognized the FLIR because the FLIR is, utilizing the infrared. And they said as soon as they put the fucking infrared on the shit, they said the shit literally like shot straight up in the air, like not like impossible to anything that they're taught in flight school, anything that'll be aeronautically possible of any type of technology known to man. And they say the shit shot straight up in the air, man, and then like just at some weird angle breaks off and gone like instantly. And a lot of the things you keep hearing is something extremely similar to that of the movement of these objects being what I guess classifies them by unidentified because it just can't be explained scientifically and shouldn't be possible by anything known to man currently as far as the movement, the speed, and those type of things.
Yeah, that's always one of the things when people have these sites of these UFOs and things. They always say that the way it would move, nothing that man has made can make it move like that. Like, I mean, going full speed and pulling right turns at like 100 G's, like that would cause most normal, plane craft to break up.
Yeah, you get fractured, and yeah, so let's chill right there real quick. So yeah, I'm glad you said that. So I don't think people understand. Like, okay, so every aircraft has a G rating or G force rating as to where you fly it like this, and the aircraft can fly normally, perform as best it possibly can, and then not put up so much stress on the aircraft that it risks causing micro fractures in the skin or in the structure of the aircraft. Not
Right.
not necessarily to the degree of where it just disintegrates and it breaks apart in flight, but to the point of where they would have to do repairs to it because there are fractures to the structure of the skin, and you have to repair them so that over time it doesn't just disintegrate in flight. And like you said, it's certain things that just completely wreck a fucking aircraft. And you have on all aircraft, you have especially fixed wing aircraft, you have like G ratings and things that will let you know when you're over angle and stuff like that or whatnot. Will have to tell you that there has been pretty much too many G's pulled on it, and then they have to pretty much do a conditional inspection to where they go through with literally just like a sonogram, and they go through and they measure certain parts of they put the sonogram on certain parts of the aircraft to look at the structure of the metal to make sure that there isn't starting to be that breakdown or having those micro fractures. Go ahead.
Um, I mean, you said it all. I mean, I find it amazing to hear about aircraft of alien aircraft, which is what I would call it, pulling right angles at high G's, you know, and when you watch these videos, it's like, I mean, because you a YouTuber, I'm a up and coming trying to come up YouTube. Speaking of y'all in the comments, go subscribe to my channel. I need some
Yeah,
subscribers.
let me see. Put it. Hey man, make sure y'all go support my man Lasher, bro. Let me get his channel. Put his mods. Put his channel in the chat for me if you could, please. Let's help our brothers out. Let's get some of these good old subs.
But yeah, back to the subject. Yeah, I find it amazing. I mean, we on YouTube, you can find enough videos watching this kind of stuff to take a whole year. You know, if you was to watch it 12 hours a day every day, it'd take a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I mean, some of them are fake, but you can tell what CG is, and you can tell what's not CG. And I think that the era we live in now, I mean, I'm mad about Trump. You know, I'm gonna say that because I think that he was coming close to full disclosure, or at
Mm-hmm.
least partial disclosure about what's going on in the skies and all that. I mean, he wouldn't have invented a space force if he didn't think we needed one. So I'm kind of a little hot about that because you know the other team, they worried about people dancing in the street and all that. Um, it boggles the mind, but um, yeah. Speaking of, I'm looking at a tweet right here by Senator Marco Rubio.
Mm-hmm.
He's the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, describing all kinds of unknown objects, and he's basically saying what we want is disclosure. And he's like, he a Republican senator, and he's like pushing the envelope for it. Knowing him, he probably try to run again, but yeah, it's coming down to the fact of about us being visited. Let me go back. Let's go back to like 1955 to 1960. It was a man named by the name of J. Allen Hynek, who was basically brought in by the FBI to do investigations on this type of phenomenon, and it's called Project Blue Book. It was a joint FBI and OSS, which is now the CIA project. And the more he tried to disprove stuff, the more he became to believe like this is real, and our government is tied up in it. I don't know how much I believe that, but I mean, because like I said, you got to be skeptical about everything. But when you go and you read, because it's all declassified now, and you go watch, they actually made a mini series about Project Blue Book, and I don't know how accurate it is, but if you actually go read Project Blue Book, it's on archives.com, and you can find it and read it there for free. And the way the man was breaking stuff down, it was like, we got people from Zeta Reticuli, Planet 2, and from other star systems and all that visiting us, and I find it all amazing,
Yeah. and like you said, man, it's crazy. Like, so you start getting into looking it up, and the rabbit holes that you definitely go down into, being that there are just people that don't want to believe or somehow think it's just all science fiction, so to speak, as you said. Shout out to Melody for the super stick. Appreciate you, Melody. So
what I say is, I mean, I believe some of it is science fiction, but science fiction always predates science fact. Even when you look at the past science fiction writers back in the day, everything that they wrote back in the day, not everything, but a lot of it has come to pass.
Yeah, come to pass, exactly. You're just ahead of their time as far as conceptualizing technology. Yeah, so like you said, so because and shout out to Zero and the Black Brain Trust. I did not know about that until this space. So I got into this space that there literally been actual matter teleported back in 2017. And a part of the whole thing with the Space Force is because pretty much the only place that's going to be cold enough for you to have the computer that you need to operate the pretty much the quantum computer that you need,
Right.
and not constantly, you know, have to worry about, you know, it being constantly cool enough or whatnot, is going to be space. So that's going to be a big part of it. Yeah, shout out to Psycho, man. I'm still pissed about that. I'm mad about the Jetsons, man. According to the Jetsons, we supposed to be in flying cars and we'll have personal robots by
I'm,
2000, man.
I'm still mad about Back to the Future 2015. I ain't have my hoverboard or
Yeah.
my flag car.
You know, it's crazy though. They actually have them though. So they actually have a actual real live hoverboard. If you can Google it and find it. And they got the jetpack things. Like what was the dude's name? What was the man with the jetpack? Not Rocket Man. It was another dude. I can't think of what it was.
The Rocketeer, he had one.
Rocketeer, that's what it was. Yeah, the Rocketeer. That's what it was. So like you said, man, all this stuff that starts out as just entertainment and you know, and science fiction, quote unquote, is actually just preconceived technology that's just not here yet. Because all those things we've seen on our you know, as kids on TV for fun, has a lot of it has come to pass. Like, you know, actual robots are a real thing. I won't say androids, so to speak, or whatnot, where you have the humanoid robots, but you definitely have robotics that are now be able to put on human beings, as to where, like, you know, there's no longer just like a hook hand. You know, you got a fully functional robotic hand. You know what I'm saying? And
like Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So the hoverboard, the jetpack. What else? I seen these dudes made an actual lightsaber too. And it's a really cool thing on here that I saw here recently. These dudes made like a real life functional lightsaber. Crazy. And you know, it's able to cut through steel and all that kind of stuff, man. So like you said, it's crazy that, you know, the stuff we see now is just an impossibility. It's only an impossibility because you just aren't advanced enough as a society yet. And I think what the UFOs give us a chance to do, because like you said, you go back and you look at the correlation or the coincidence, we'll just say coincidence of it, and then the catapulting of it. Well, when is going to be this next you know, scientific boom or thrusting until the next level of technology? Because, you know, they say the technocracy is coming, as where pretty much everything is going to be automated here within the next 10 years or so.
Right. Now, I'll say this. Are you familiar with Richard Dawkins?
I think I've heard the name.
Okay. He wrote a book about a decade ago called The Selfish Gene. And he actually invented the term meme. And you know what a meme is. Like, in the common parlance, a meme is, you know, them goofy pictures that Negroes put on the internet just to laugh at. But the real definition of a meme is basically a meme is a mind virus. Music is a type of meme, is a mind virus. And when I say a mind virus, like the children of the past, kids like me, kids in the 60s and 70s and 80s, we would read them science fiction books and just conceptualize that technology from what the writers wrote. And then we would say, how can I do this? And then that inspires the next generation of people who go into engineering and in advanced sciences. And then they actually come up with it. So what it is, like, it's a mind virus that passes down from one generation to the next. A meme, an actual meme. So I look at science fiction as a meme. I look at music as a meme because, I mean, just to get off topic for 1 second, if you think about the music, the negative music that came out in the past couple of decades, and look how it's affecting our communities today.
Yeah.
So
Like
go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you good. No, like I said, that's very interesting too. Like you said, the mind is only limited to the concept. I think people, like I said, you can't do something you can't imagine. And I
True,
think,
but it is limited by language, though.
yeah, well, yeah, but this is what I'll say. Even with a lack of language, if you're able to, like you said, illustrate something or write it down or whatnot, if as long as you're able to get it down on a piece of paper or get someone that's there able to, I guess, turn your thoughts into words, you can get it. You know what I'm saying? Because like even if you go back to, like you said, I was looking up the element one,
115.
yeah, element 115, Moscovium. Like you said, the whole concept of it, everything starts out with, okay, well, I'm thinking about this. I don't really know what to call it. I don't have a name for it yet because it doesn't exist. So when you're in the, I guess, the developmental stages of whatever it may be, idea, whether it's technology, whether it's language, whether it's music or whatnot, what have you, I think that's the real intriguing part of it, is that it starts out as just a thought, an idea, and it doesn't necessarily have a name to it or whatnot, what have you, because it doesn't exist yet. But as you develop it more and you get more of, whether it's you on an individual basis or you with a team of individuals, you guys come together and you put everything together that you need to put together in order to name it and fully explain it and hash it out for the rest of everyone else to be able to understand your creation. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and God damn it, I wish that what Negroes would do is that without conflict. You know.
Uh-huh.
I
That's
mean,
that's that's the hard. That's always going to be the hard part, man. Like you said, everybody wants to be an expert. Like you said, everybody wants to be the founder. Everybody wants to get the credit for having the eureka moment or the $1 billion idea. So I think what it is, man, is like you said, and you did bring a really great point. A lot of people, languages are very, very important. Element of anything, because like I said, if you can't understand or you can't explain what you're doing, well, you're just, what I mean, you're never going to get anywhere. And I think,
yeah, it'll limit you.
especially, yeah, with us, man, a lot of people don't understand language, man. That's why I tell people all the time, man, words mean things. Like I say, even if you try to correct somebody and let them know, hey, man, you're using that wrong. You're not saying that right. Oh, you think you like, nah, man, I'm not even trying to clown you. It's just me and you. I'm trying to let you know that you aren't using the word properly, or you're misusing the word, or you're not using the proper context, or you're just completely and totally like lost. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, this is what this is. And, and people get offended because you're challenging their intelligence.
Yeah, it that's the story of my life. Whereas, when I consider myself a fairly erudite guy, but you can't be around everybody and be the intelligent guy, because it'll do is it'll put you in a space where either people distance themselves from you, and this is around the board, whether it's black, white, green, Chinese, whatever. If you are the smart guy in the room and you're not in the room full of other smart guys, you'll be ostracized. And I mean, that happens big in our community. We all know that. You talking white and all that shit. Um, Also, it's also the problem of like you said, everybody want to be the chief and everybody wants credit. It's always the one person that wants to be the head. And for example, I bring people just now finding out about this. This is part of my like video game knowledge. It's his brother named what is that brother's name? It's slipping my mind right now. I probably had too many beers. But he basically, the guys invented Pong, the paddle video game thing back in the day, in like the late 1950s. This brother in the 70s, um, he helped work on the Fairchild F console, which was the first cartridge based video game console. It was a brother that invented that, and it's just now people finding out about this, because he's like, I don't need to be known about this, but I mean, it's using those same transistors and microchips and everything that we learned how to make after the recovery from the crash in 1947. This brother invented the cartridge-based system, and people today are just now finding out about it. And he didn't want credit for it, and I think we need more brothers like that where it's not about credit, it's about getting the fucking job done. You know what I mean? So that's just a tangent that I went off on, and I'll try not to do that again on the show. Um, so what you think?
Hey, nah, man, you good. Wherever we go, man, we end up, man. It's Tinfoil Tuesdays, baby. It's not just it don't just be strictly to the topic. Like you said, this is the wonderful part about the conversation because, like you said, one of the things about UFOs is, like you said, it's a concept that's really, really, I wouldn't say, like I said, it's no longer taboo because it's been verified by the government, right? But it's still something that people have a hard time believing in or understanding because it literally defies science and it defies what we're told the capabilities of things are supposed to be. So and that's sort of kind of like again, the concept of ideas and creation and invention. It all starts out as where, man, it's no way that's possible. It's no way it's possible. There's no way that's possible. But then eventually, as you go into it and you get a better development in whatever you're trying to create or construct, and it comes to life and you can no longer be denied, then we're here. And it's the same thing as the UFOs, because for the longest we were told and kept in the dark about, there's no way, you're silly, why would you even say that? There's no such thing other than just airplanes and kites and blimps and weather balloons and all these other things. But then you have people that are actual pilots, fighter pilots, okay, in the military that see these things, man, and get to the point of where if and when they can, it's declassified and they can talk about it. They're allowed to. They tell you what they seen with their own eyes, and I just think is extremely, extremely fascinating, man, to have the account of someone who's 1 in a billion people that get to see the exact thing that people say just do not exist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, just because they declassified or they supposedly declassified, if you go on the CIA website for all the stuff that's supposedly declassified about, UFOs, alien technology, and all that, yeah, it's there for you to read, but 99% of it is redacted.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is it really declassified or is it really open if, it's all redacted and you can't tell what it is?
Well, I thought, like you said, I think it's declassified enough to the point of where you can prove the concept. But I think anything more than that, if you leave enough to it, then you get to do the same thing they did allegedly or possibly in reverse engineering. You know what I'm saying? If the right people see it. So yeah, I mean, you don't ever want to give the public or give some freelance person like a Elon Musk, you know what I'm saying, or like a Tesla, Nikola Tesla back in the day, or who else is a great inventor or technology person. Bill Gates isn't good as far as like the actual tech side of it.
He's more business than anything.
Yeah, but a person that's a genius, right? And they get to see a concept of certain things, and these people can literally, like you said, reverse engineer something just by seeing the description of it. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how descriptive it is. So it's a give or take. But just the fact of the matter, like I said, that you have the government come out and pretty much admit, okay, you got us, we lied. You know what I'm saying? It's more than enough for me.
But I mean, to me, I see reverse engineering as being something that's pretty simple. You can take any, jackleg mechanic out the hood, give him a pack of Newports and a 6-pack, and say, "Here's this car ain't working. Break this engine down for me." He'll break it down into each and every single part, screw and everything, and then rebuild it. And that's basically what reverse engineering is. breaking it all down, finding out how this connects to this and what makes it work, and then making your changes to it and how it can work for you and rebuilding it. I mean,
Well,
I see that as being fairly simple. Now, granted, I'm not an engineer myself. I mean, when something break in my house, I had to call a white man to come fix it. Unfortunately, but hey, come fix this. But basic stuff. I do work on my car and stuff like that, change brakes and do the oil and all that shit. But I mean, that's how I see reverse engineering.
yeah, but you like I said, man, I think a lot of people don't give themselves credit as far as like being mechanically inclined, even though it may not be everything. Like I say, yeah, me, I can do cars, but I'm nowhere near a mechanic like an actual mechanic dude. I know some of these dudes out here, man, that are gearheads, and bro, they can literally like break an engine down, all the way down to the block and rebuild that thing back up. Do their own. Replace their own rack and pinions and fucking rods and everything, right? They can like literally do their own car and replace the transmission and all that. Like, yeah, man, I could do the transmission shit as far as like hooking up a transmission to an engine and all that shit. But as far as like breaking down the engine, bro, I don't have the time, the patience, or whatever. But like you said, it's really, really simple once you if you got a manual or something to follow to know how to do it. But
right, like see, cars I can't do. Like computers, I can build computers. I work on my turntables, my mixer, and all that stuff. When I need to do repairs, I can do those repairs. I'm not good at soldering, but everything else, you replace capacitors and things like that. All my video game system. I got an old ass Neo Geo. I had to replace the capacitors on it, so I can get it to work again.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that kind of stuff, but working on a car like mechanical engineering, no, I ain't the one.
Yeah, man. Like I said, one of the biggest gifts I ever got from my dad, I thought was a punishment at the time, was he got me that old raggedy Delta 88, and I had to replace the timing chain in it in order to get it to run. It was off time, so I replaced the timing chain, man. Like I said, I literally like the whole front of an engine of what I think it was a 350. I think it was a Chevy 350 engine. Replace that shit. Never replaced that bad damn carburetor I had. I was getting like probably 8 miles to the gallon or less. Like that shit horrible. Man. Yeah, but the damn 4-barrel carburetor. But becoming mechanically inclined, man, you'll be surprised. Man, I've seen so many people come in the Navy, grown men, like people that like, they done went to college and they decided to join the military later on or whatever. I'm talking about dudes that are like in their 20s, some dudes even in their 30s. And you're like, hey man, hand me the wrench. And they like, what is that? I'm like, stop playing, man. Now hand me the wrench, bro. No, I'm serious. I don't know what a wrench is. so you gotta give some credit. You gotta give some credit. And then too, like you said, even though you say we're not big on soldering, man, people don't even understand. That's another big thing too. Because in my job, you got like two sides of it. You got like the organizational side, to where you actually changing out the nuts and bolts and things and parts, right? But then you have the intermediate side, which would be, like you said, your circuit boards, or doing like the smaller repairs on the actual parts themselves, where you have to break the parts open and fix the parts if there's an issue with the parts. Like you said, you got like a burnt up diode, or you got a bad resistor, or you got a whole circuit card for the most part. And then you get to the point too where you have micro miniature repairs, or people that actually do the repairs of the circuit boards. So yeah, man, I just think give yourself credit, man, because some people out here like they can't do nothing. They like not a computer, not a. They can't even change the batteries in the damn in the smoke detectors, man. They don't know what to do. Nothing. Completely and totally helpless out here. So I think people take for granted just your own ability when it comes to being mechanically or technologically, inclined to know how to fix anything. Like especially nowadays, man, that in itself is going to be worth its weight in gold here shortly. And I think people just don't understand just how much it is. I think we actually are like the last generation to be encouraged to do that. You know what I'm saying? To fix it yourself and figure it out. Because man, It's two. If it's two people I hate, bro, it's fucking mechanics, car mechanics, and like car salesmen. I can't stand either one of those two. But it's either
Oh yeah,
mechanics.
car salesman. I can't stand them motherfuckers. But I
Yeah,
mean, I know how to get around them though.
yeah, car mechanics and car salesmen. Two people I hate. But like I said, especially like I said, the car salesman, like I said, you can get around. You don't really have to deal with them. But eventually, man, unless you got your own shop where you got your own tools and stuff available to do it, and the time, you eventually gonna end up seeing that damn mechanic, man. And the mechanics, bro, they're gonna rip your pockets out every time every chance they get. Every chance they get.
You got to barter with them kind of cats, though.
Yeah, man.
Oh man, you got a computer don't work or something, you know. Oh man, hey, if you do me a discount on this, man, I'll throw you, I'll get somebody to throw you a pack of that Doja or something. I mean, you gotta negotiate with the mechanics. But you can. Them salesmen though, no, I go straight over their head.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to Hulk in the building, man. So yeah, man. Is there anything else you wanted to cover before we open it up? Before we really get our tinfoil hats all the way on, man. Strap the 10 straps in.
Oh man. I mean, I was trying to keep it as straight and regular as possible. Because when the tinfoil hats go on or they come off, depending upon the situation, people gonna say some crazy stuff, and I mean, I got my little rebuttals, but I mean, I'm not the most versed.
That's the wonderful part about it, man. However you want to go, man. It's your show tonight, man. So, like I said, we finna get into it, man. Like I say, agreements, disagreements, or whatever, what have you. That's the great part about it, because, like you say, I mean, nobody's wrong. You know what I'm saying? for the most part. And some stuff is just gonna be crazy and outrageous. Hey, you come up, you get up here talking about you done been raped by an alien, nigga. I'm like, hey, hey, you got it. I'm not arguing that. No, I don't want to see no pictures. I don't want to see no scar, nigga. No, I'm gonna tell you got it, bro. We gonna take your word for it. We gonna believe you, all right?
I want to see the pictures. I want proof.
I don't want to see no damn pictures, bro.
I don't care about the fact that you got raped by an alien. I just want to know that there's an alien out there that's raping motherfuckers. So I can watch out for them.
They only going one way, man. That was a major thing too. I was like, damn, man, they either splitting open like cows and shit, or they raping people. I'm like, damn, man, like shit, they rape niggas. Like, damn, you gotta rape them. Shit.
Oh man, they say some of them was it reminded me of an X-File episode, because I love X-Files, man. I mean, I think I've seen every episode 10 times. Where what's her name? Scully. Supposedly she got abducted and they left a chip in her, and then all of a sudden she had cancer. Then she found all these women who had the same experience, and they all had their chips too, and they all was like cancer survivors and all that. So I mean, I found that to be very interesting, but just full on raping, I mean, come on, dog. I'll put it like this: if you got the technology to traverse the 3-dimensional universe in large parsecs of space, what you got to go to another planet to rape a motherfucker for?
Hey man, they gotta have their fun, man. You find these little squishy flesh beings that think they're so smart, man. What's funner than put them to sleep and sodomizing them, man. A sodomite.
It ain't that much fun in the world, man.
They're all sodomites, man. Shout out to fasting. They all sodomites.
Oh, my man, Ranger on 17 say, do you guys listen to Coast AM with George Norrie? I don't particularly care for George Norrie since he took over from Art Bell. Art Bell was the man, though. Like them late nights, you get on there Friday night, this is before you can go out and go party on Friday night. Like when I was a teenager, Art Bell, he had your ass tripping out at 2:00 in the morning talking about aliens and shit. You want to go to sleep. But yeah, bring them in. I mean, it's a conversation to be had. Let's have it.
Yeah, man, y'all go ahead and click the link, man, if y'all want to hop up in here, man, and get this Tinfoil Tuesday popping off, baby. Let's get this thing going.
And
Yeah,
y'all go to my channel, man. Give me some subs. Come watch me play some games.
yeah,
You know
man.
what I'm saying?
Y'all let me put this thing in again.
You need to too, fantastic. I know you be gaming. What you play, man?
Man, I don't, bro. I stopped. I was playing COD heavy for probably like I think it's probably like a month, probably about a month strong, probably like, and that was like 3-4 months ago, man. But I can never get really, especially with this. My son just run the damn thing, man. My oldest son, you know, and the youngest, man, they Fortnited to death. You know what I'm saying? So
I can't get into Fortnite. This just ain't my thing. Now, Call of Duty. You know what? I'm not good at first person shooters. Like with a controller, no. I need the keyboard and the mouse for that.
I
You know,
never.
I think it's a lot more accurate that way. If I'm gonna play a FPS, I need that. Now, you know, stuff like GTA, yeah, give me a controller. I play controller bit. I mean, I'm gonna be streaming Mario Maker 2 tomorrow, so if y'all want to come watch, y'all come watch. I'll be streaming that tomorrow evening. Um, you know, controller for everything else, but first person shooters, you need that keyboard and the mouse.
Yeah, I never even understood how the hell motherfuckers was doing that shit, playing the goddamn Call of Duty and shit with a fucking keyboard and a mouse. Fuck that. Like, what the hell? Shit.
The mouse is the reticle, the gun reticle, the bullseye.
Yeah, but
Wherever you move the mouse is what you shooting at.
that's what I'm saying. That shit has got to be sensitive.
You click the button. Wow.
That shit got to
And
be sensitive as a motherfucker, man.
I mean, it's easy. Yeah, I mean, you think it sound hard, and then
Uh,
you push W to move forward, S to move back, A to move, and D to move straight left and right. You know,
man.
that's it.
What's
What's
up,
up?
man? I gave you a subscription last year.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. But man, I was watching this movie when I was Netflix and chilling with this chick a couple years ago. It was called Extinction or something like that. And like the humans came, like it was like came back like dressed up as aliens, right? They took all the dag and they were just killing all the other humans. And like that's what I think gonna happen, man. I don't think it's really aliens. I just think it's like people living on the other side of the moon that's being like, you know, preparing to take the world back. And they're gonna come down here and beat us up with all kinds of technology they've been working on.
So,
You know what? You know what? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Fantastic.
No, you got it, bro. It's you. I got you. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know what? That's actually one of the theories that people say about some aliens and time travelers. They basically say that, you know, some of the aliens that we see, like the grays and stuff, are like a future evolution of humankind, and basically it's them traveling back in time to influence us in certain kinds of ways. And you know, some, I mean, it's different sects. I mean, it's you might have one sect that might be peaceful, then the next sect that might try to come take over. So they having their wars out there in space, and then like, you know, we kind of surrounded by all these different races that's doing this to try to take over us. So yeah, I mean, honestly, everybody, that extension movie, it's on Netflix, ain't it? I
Yeah,
think I remember seeing it about a year ago or so.
yeah, and I was like, man, yo, they kind of had me because like, I'm from North Carolina, right? So we used to be looking at the sky, or whatever, like real from the coast, whatever. We looking up to the sky, we be seeing little stuff happening. You know what I'm saying? Seymour Johnson and stuff wasn't the Air Force base wasn't too far away. So we'd be like tripping, like, what's going on? And like, man, I just thought I was tripping back in the days, but come to find out, more people is into this extraterrestrial stuff too.
I mean, it's something to be into if you have an interest in it. I mean, you got to think about it like if it's something out there, don't you want to know? I mean, like they say, X Files, the truth is out there. You just got to find out what it is. I mean, you know, the movies always have been that medium that they use to prepare the population for stuff that's gonna happen in the future. I mean, it's always been that way. Um, just I call the media. I call the media the fourth branch of the government now. Seeing that they calling the media get to call presidential elections now. I call them the fourth branch and the fifth column at the same time. But you know, that's a different subject. But I mean, the media always have put out there, you know, stuff that is projected to supposedly happen down the line. Like you think about like the 70s, the 80s, the 90s was all aliens, right?
Yep.
And then when we get into the 2000s, what became big? Zombies. You know, and that's zombies is big now. And I think that zombies is not so much something that could happen, you know, seriously, but I think that it's a metaphor for the breakdown of society.
Yeah, shout out to everybody on the panel, man. Everybody's coming into there, man. Appreciate y'all coming through.
Salute.
We got my man, Fatal Dose. It's on you, brother. What's going on with you? Fatal Dose, you there? You unmuted, but we can't hear you if you there, bro.
He went tricking. He's tricking over there.
Oh God, go ahead, fast and take it away, bro.
Fantastic. How's everybody doing? Peace.
Hey man, I can't complain, man. What's going on?
Peace.
Hey, I was just waiting, man. Hey, shout out to the brother LaShare, but you know, he didn't bring that fire tonight, man. Like he should have been coming blazing. Simply put, aliens are gods. The word aliens come from the ancient Phoenician, meaning Allahayim, or people like they say Elohim based on modern Hebrew, but it's Allahayim. So the Latins, it comes from the word alias, which means from another. But it's just
actually Greek, not the Latin.
No, Latin. Look it up. Alias, Alius. That's the origin. It comes from Latin. So basically, when they talk about aliens, aliens are basically gods, or what the Bible calls angels, right? So they were cast out from this dimension. You know, you got the fallen angels who are here. So what they try to do is they try to use earthly elements to recreate what they had from the heavens. Now, when they show us UFOs and all that stuff, those are just a military experiment. Why? Because unbeknownst to the people, the gods govern the world. And what is the best way to govern the world is through military. So that's why in the military they have ranks. And then when you are on the top rank, like generals, guess what? The generals are the ones who get to talk with the gods. The god says, okay, do this and do that. And the gods, they can look like us. If you've seen the movie They Live, it tells you exactly how the gods work with us, right? What was the gods, they left their planets, the quote-unquote planets was dying, and they're trying to mingle amongst men, but because they look different and mankind will panic, they unite together. So what they do is they have a technology that basically cloaks them so we won't see them. Same thing even in the Bible, when you break down Genesis 3, when it talks about the serpent and all that stuff, right? When you break it down in ancient Hebrew, it talks about that there are two races of God. The what you call good cup, bad cup, where they basically we as humans are put in farms. That's why we have cities. Cities are basically farms. We are the sheep. We are the cattle.
Twilight Zone to serve man.
Okay.
They keep us out. Like basically, we are kept from the gods from seeing them. So when they say Roswell and all that stuff, what they're basically telling you is the gods where they always lived. The military, quote unquote, allegedly gets to conversate with them and they give them knowledge. And then think about this: mankind is not that smart to come up with what we have today. We're not that smart.
I have to disagree with you on.
Hey, okay, you have to prove it.
Look how far we are. Okay.
Everything you see,
think about all right.
They had thousands of years ago. Like everything you see today, It's new to us. It always existed. Let me ask you a question. When archaeologists discover, quote unquote, oh, we found something, you don't see what they discover. How do you know they didn't find the car in underground, buried underground, and they use whatever technology they study it and they give it to you? You think, oh, cars, oh, modern technology. Everything we see today is old.
Okay.
Watch this. In
All right.
mythology, right? In Persian mythology, they talk
All right,
about.
hold on. Pastor, you gotta let him go ahead. Go ahead. That's
Oh,
just
yeah,
on
go
you.
ahead.
I want to partially agree with what you're saying and partially disagree. Now, as it comes to archaeology, of course you're not going to see what they're saying. See what they're discovering. I mean, if you're not there, why would you? Okay. Second of all, now as for aliens being gods, I can't say that I agree with that. Now, have you ever heard of the Anunnaki?
Yes.
The
Yes.
Anunnaki are basically considered to be an alien race who influenced the early Sumerians in all their texts, which is the earliest text, like Cuneiferum, which all other stories of what we call the Bible and all the other religious stories are permutations of that. Basically, the Anunnaki were known to come to Earth, enslave humans to mine gold because gold is a component in technology because of how gold conducts electricity. If you open your computer up right now, the one you're talking to me on, your phone, whatever it is, you can open it up, and if you look at the circuit board, all the lines are gold because they conduct electricity, and electrons pass through them quick and fast and in a hurry. Basically, what the Anunnaki were a group of aliens who you call gods. I won't call them gods, but basically they came here to enslave us to do their bidding, and then after getting what they needed, abandoned the planet. As for also, you touched on ancient civilizations and finding stuff in ancient civilizations that would seem to be modern if you looked at it and you identified and you thought it was modern. The only reason that is because my personal belief is that we as a race of human beings have been through multiple different apocalypses. So I mean, we can destroy the world right now with nuclear weapons. It just turns everything back to the Stone Age. You give it 10,000 years, if it's humans left and they still fucking and reproducing, eventually the our ideas and those memes that I spoke on earlier, those mind viruses that pass down through humankind will eventually remanifest. And you'll have another advanced society in another 10,000 to 20,000 years. To say that we haven't been as advanced as we are now before, I think it's ludicrous to assume that we haven't. I mean, but naturally, our actual human history that we know of only goes back, written, the earliest writings like the Sumerians, 15,000 years. Everything before that is unknown. So who knows what happened before that?
And here's the trap of the guys, how they got you. You using the word human. I'm not a human. Human is another term for the hybrids. We are mankind. Human is a new word that came up with. Why? Because like I told you earlier, the gods can look like us. So
human is the word we use because that's the language
human
we
is
use
a new word.
I mean, it's every language has its own word for what a human is.
Words have meaning.
Yes, I know. I literally just talked to Fantastic about this. Language is the only limit to what the mind can conceive, and words. I mean, what you call yourself is.
But I'm not a human. You can choose. You can accept that you're a human, but I'm not. I'm a mankind. That's what I'm telling you.
I'm mankind too, but humans are mankind. Man of color.
They're hybrids. They're hybrids. They're half man, half Nephilim. The Anunnakis, right? The reason why in some cultures they refer to them as quote unquote gods. Why? Because they were the offsprings of the fallen gods, the Nephilim. Because the word Anu is in the Bible. He was
the
a man.
Nephilim was not the offspring of gods. It was the offspring of supposed angels.
You know what Nephilim
No.
means?
The Nephilim were an offspring of angels.
Of angels and human women.
No.
Angels, God.
They were an offspring of the children of man and the fallen angels. Because I was about to, yes, they were.
Right. Right. That's what I just said.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what the word God means?
God is what's considered a supreme being.
No,
I mean,
saying, do you
know
know
what Big G and Little G?
No, I mean, do you know what the word God means?
Supreme being.
English. That's what I'm saying. The word God comes from the German Gott. It's another name for Zeus, right? But just like in ancient Canaanite, the word El became a generic word for entities or beings, right? So El was the name of a particular deity, right? Even the irony
all
of
the Semitic languages, like Arabic and Hebrew, use El as the name of God.
No.
Now the Germanic languages use God, or if they derive from Latin, if it's derived from Latin, Western languages uses the word Deus or Dio or D.
That's the name of Zeus. So that's what I'm saying. Words have meaning. The word, they've made a name into a common word, right? Like they've made it into a common word to refer to an entity that's powerful. So that's why I say, when I say that gods and angels are the same, that's what I'm referring to. Why? Because even when you look in the Bible, in the Hebrew, when it says God or singular or plural, it says Alahayim, which now in modern time they will say aliens, right? Or if you want to put it in a modern term, extraterrestrial, right? Extra meaning out of. So if something is outside of Earth, it's a god.
God, dog. I thought Hotep niggas was bad. God, dog.
Hotep? Hey,
I mean, that's what you sound like.
No, but
come on, man.
These are Hotep guys. They know a lot of stuff. You know. Remember, even in the hieroglyphics, it shows you, airplanes, choppers, fire jets, right? And even the Bible talks about what? Raining fire, right? The prophets they saw something, a chariot raining fire, right?
Okay, and that's referred to in what the ancient alien scripts talk about. Yeah, raining fire from the sky.
And guess what?
Because and they look at it like rocket ships taking off and everything like that. But I mean,
you want to know why? Because they already existed. They already existed.
I'm not saying that they didn't. What I am saying that is.
That's I told you, man. You didn't bring the fire, man. I'm bringing that fire. That's always. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought this is supposed to be a UFO show. This guy, he's bringing what? Popo cups and and milk. He's supposed to be bringing that liquor, man. You bring that liquor, a big steak. You got fire, into these people, man. When it comes,
but see, you also have to understand that fire and brimstone is not everything that everybody responds to. You can't. They do. I mean, you just know they don't.
They do.
Because I'm not. Hey, you coming to me with it, and I'm not.
Aliens. Hey, I wanted to mention earlier, but I forgot. Do you want to know why a lot of people sag their pants? Because white people got tired of aliens probing them, so they were like, let's make these people start sagging their pants as an invitation. But guess what? The aliens are racist.
God damn, I'm done.
No.
I heard it all.
All right, the only Ranger Roll 17. It's on you, brother. Go ahead.
The only known abduction of a black person being abducted by UFOs happened in the 60s. It was Betty and Barney Hill. They were actually an interracial couple who were abducted. They were
before the Lovins.
Yeah. Because the Lovins are actually from King George County, Virginia, which is actually 2 counties up from my mom's home place, Essex County, and that was the first Supreme Court case that legalized having an interracial marriage in one of the most racist states in the country.
Wait. Make sure we put the context on that though. One thing that people we leave out importantly is that even though it did by law, legalize interracial marriages, it was only one way. All right, no black man going out marrying no white woman. All right,
It was a it was a black woman going with the white man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but Betty and Barney. In fact, if you wanted to learn more about Betty and Barney Hill, if you go up on YouTube, pull up the original episodes of In Search Of, and when they talk about UFO abductions, they talk about Betty and Barney Hill. In fact, Barney Hill was a member of the NAACP and a U.S. postal worker. Talk about getting help from black organizations.
Hey, can I jump in here?
Go ahead.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Yeah, all right. Glad my mic is working. But hey, the brother's talking about what's his name? Fasting his life. Look, there's a lot of conjecture here, right? If you read the Bible and it talks about chariots, a lot of brothers take that to they take it into today's term and say, well, it has to be UFOs. Well, it didn't say UFO. It said chariot. You can't make that leap and conjecture that this must be referring to UFOs. It doesn't equate, right? So we got to take out these wild interpretations of things and look at them for what it is. If it was a UFO, we wouldn't call it a chariot. We would call it something else.
What is a UFO?
Well,
what does it
understand? Hold on, unidentified flying object, but it identified it as a chariot. It identified it as a chariot.
What is that?
A chariot is a chariot with horses in front of it and the wheels and someone
flying chariot. Listen to the language. The Bible says flying chariot. Okay, if a chariot, you can recognize that. The Romans use chariots, right? Okay, a flying one. Explain that. What does that mean? A flying chariot.
If it's why can't a supernatural power make a chariot with horses fly?
No. I mean, explain to me, right? Because I'm using the argument.
It's a chariot. Okay. It's a chariot.
Watch this.
Hold on. Let me hop in real quick. Let me hop in real quick. Fatal dose. So again, do you take the Bible as literal sense only, or make it as allegorical?
It's literal. Right. So the reason is they say the reason why people say it's allegorical is because they want to make leaps like this man is doing, saying a chariot is a UFO. If it was a UFO and it was unidentified, it wouldn't be calling it a chariot. It would be calling it, hey, I don't know what this flying object is.
No. And let me hop in real quick. So again, just like everything else at the time of them saying it, and again, the reason why you can't take the Bible as literal, because again, the Bible is a book of prophecy. Okay, so especially in being in the Bible is a book of prophecy, well, society is going to advance from the original time when the text was written.
Right.
So if you take it literal, as mean like chariots of fire or whatnot, what have you, that would mean, either it's on fire and a buggy behind it that's on fire. Or like I said, if you understand it from the allegorical sense, it's pretty much describing something before its time that has not yet been invented. There will be, i.e. a car, or like you say, you talk about flying chariots, it would be an airplane, a helicopter, or something like that. I wouldn't go as far as UFO. I wouldn't go to say it's talking about UFOs, but I would definitely go as far as saying like, hey, it's talking about, technology that doesn't yet exist in the Bible times.
Question, how many people here have read the Bible?
That's.
And I don't mean read passages of the Bible. Have read the entire Bible.
Yeah,
and I've read the Bible dozens of times, and I can tell you right now, all of these things about it being allegories and prophecies are being created by people who want to put their own spin on it, because it says exactly what it means.
Okay,
brother, wait. Hold on. Ezekiel, right? Wait. I gotta get something straight. So hold on. So you saying the Bible is not prophecy?
I didn't say that, right? But the prophecies themselves.
I'm not trying to do a gotcha thing. I'm just trying to get an understanding.
Right. The Bible is mostly a historical book, right? Yeah, there's very little prophecies in it. Even when you're reading the prophets themselves, they're talking about events that's happening, and they'll say, because of this, God said he'll do that. So it's not a book of prophecy or allegory. It's actually history. And what I tend to find is the same thing that the Hebrew Israelites or the church or anyone is talking, when they're talking about the Bible, they tend to put this mystique around it so that then they could come to people and say, well, I understand this and it means that. Whereas when you sit down and you read it, it says exactly what it means. If the only people that want to interpret it is people who want to control other people through their narrative by saying, hey, I understand this, let me explain it to you. But it says what it means. It's just like any other book. If you pick it up and you read it and you leave the confirmation bias out of it, by what I mean by confirmation bias is that if you've been brainwashed by the church or any other religious organization, whereas it's like the Hebrew Israelites or Muslims or whoever, you come reading the book with preconceived ideas that you're looking to confirm. If you leave that out of it and you read the book, you'll see that the book says exactly what it means. You don't need to interpret chariots or flaming chariots as some kind of a jet engine behind something. No, it didn't say that. It said exactly what it meant, a chariot.
Let
you
me
could
ask
imagine
you,
that the chariot might have had fire under it, but that's what it means.
Based on your argument, right? Let me ask you, what you say you read the Bible, right? Let me ask you, the Bible has a verse, many verses. It talks about flying swords. Explain to me, what does that mean?
It's a flying sword. It just told you.
No,
it's
flying swords.
Flying what?
Flying swords.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's a flying sword. That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Why would I need to explain it when it already told you what it was?
Okay.
What you gonna tell me it's a missile?
Show me.
You're gonna tell me it's a missile?
Listen. Show me in the history, right? Because you just said that the Bible is a historical book, right? Show me in history where mankind had war with flying swords.
No, but it didn't say that. That's a prophecy. So when Isaiah is talking about he saw flying swords, when Isaiah talks about he was talking about future events.
No, hold on. Like I say, I listen to your argument, right? You talk about that people try to come with. So I'm here. Okay, I'm reading a passage in the Old Testament, right? The prophet is saying about war, right? And he talks about flying swords. So I need you to show me, because you say out of your own mouth that the Bible is mostly a historical book, right? Show me in history, right? And break down what are flying swords. Where in history?
And I just answered your question. Isaiah was talking about a prophecy when he said that. He did not say it already happened. I just said that they talk about the history that of things that's happening in front of them, and then they said as they're speaking, they would give prophecies. And I just said that, and you totally ignored that.
I know you're basically saying you don't know. I'm going to explain it to you.
No, that's not what I'm saying. No, I don't want your explanation.
You know what it's talking about? It's talking about a machine gun. Because when you read the whole story of the prophecy, it mentions about a missile. But it doesn't call it a missile.
Where does it say missile or machine gun? It says flying sword. You're full of it.
Listen.
You're full of it. You're full of it. You're full of it. You're making it up.
And he's the and Mr. Fast, hold on 1 second, brother. When this took such a spiritual turn, it kind of shut down every other argument. It really did, because it's really hard to argue against biblical and spiritual terms, and it's hard to argue against it, brother. It really is. It kind of shut down everybody else's argument, honestly.
No, it doesn't really. Like I would say, depending on your perspective. To me, no. I welcome every argument. Yeah. You remember, because you know why? Because simplest things are simple to answer. Like if you ask somebody, okay, flying swords, right? You can try to conceptualize, right? But the Bible explains itself. That's why the reason why I'm saying that flying sword refers to machine gun, right? When you look at a bullet, what is the form of a bullet? Right. It's the pointing of a sword. And when what do they call it? Rounds of bullets, right? Right. So the prophet was seeing a war where people are free. Because remember, it's in ancient time, right? Looking back at Romans time, right? The Roman sword was what? The greatest weaponry, right? And at that time, only Roman citizens could own a Roman sword, right? So it's the same thing how, here in America, right? If you have AR-15 or gun range and stuff like that, there are certain weapons they don't want people to have per se, right? But America basically makes the best weapon. So in ancient, in that time, they couldn't understand, they couldn't interpret a gun. You can't read in the Bible where it says a gun, no, but from the prophet's perspective in his time, he understood warfare, but the only way to interpret a gun, a machine gun, he called it flying swords, right? And also he talks about what do you call it? The military, like in Israel, whenever they send like missiles, and they have a system about like a missile that
Iron Dome. It's called Iron Dome.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Bible gives a idiom. It calls it a wall, right? Just like in ancient times, cities build walls. The Bible talks about Babylon. It says, "I will bring your walls down." It's a figure of speech. Why? Because the prophet saw arrows, which talking about missiles coming, right? And you need the wall to protect so the arrows won't cross over. But the Bible says, "I will bring down your walls so the arrows will hit you." So it's talking about figurative, meaning if you have a system that will block the missiles, God says he's going to shut it down, or power grid goes out where the system won't work and then the bombs will hit. So if you don't understand the understanding that those people, there's word based on their understanding, but you can look at it in its context and interpret in our modern time, it will make sense. That's why I'm like, people don't read the Bible, they spew nonsense because they never read the Bible. Anyone who reads the Bible in its context will understand what I'm saying.
All right, so if you've read the Bible and you were putting it in the right context, because you just proved my point, you're taking today's worldview, today's viewpoint. So what happens in 1,000 years when there's a different weapon? Let's say 200 years from now, we've created a different weapon. Are the people going to say that's what it's talking about? I guarantee you, someone like you, 200 years ago would have said it's talking about the cannon. It's talking about the canon. So you can't do that. You can't look at your worldview and how you understand things today and try to apply it to something that was written thousands of years ago without any first-hand knowledge of what the prophet was writing.
Hey, Fasting, let me ask you a question, man. Fasting, do you believe every single thing that you read?
Elaborate.
I mean, do you look like a skeptic at anything that you read?
No, because I have to use my own wisdom to break down what I'm reading. That would be foolish to believe everything you read.
Exactly.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah.
Fatal Dose he just said it exactly. I mean, if you believe everything you read and you believe all these allegorical stories as being fact,
do you believe everything you read?
No, of course not. If I believed everything I read, I'd sound like you.
That's what I said. We did.
And he's not even talking about what he reads.
It wasn't clever. I mean, anyone who has.
I wasn't trying to be clever. I'm telling you honestly, dude. Like what you saying.
So okay. What was the point of your question? What was
so let's
all of us are here. We know that not everything you're gonna read, you have to believe it. I read science. It said that we came from monkeys. Does that mean it's true? Do I have to believe it?
No, because nobody ever said that anybody came from monkeys. What it says that we have a genetic primate ancestor that we all derive from.
Okay, prove it.
Prove it. We got the DNA to prove it. The same way they prove DNA for people for women who get raped and they find they rape killers. Or they find they rape they catch they rapists. When brothers get out of jail. When brothers get out of jail because they proved the DNA proved that they was innocent. We got DNA. It's in every single cell and molecule of our body.
So
come on, man.
Wait, guys, hold on. I got a question for you.
Primates.
I mean, you sound bananas.
Fasting.
Hold on.
Fasting is life.
Who's trying to get in?
I mean, this is Fatal. I got a question.
Wants to link.
I got a question for you. So in the book of Genesis, God said when he kicked Adam and Eve out of the garden, that he put a flaming sword facing each way in the entrance of the garden. Is that talking about some form of a flamethrower?
It's a gateway. Look at like I say, you speak of things you don't understand.
You speak of things you don't understand because that's why you're making it up.
I bet you read the King James version, don't you?
Your question is exactly like it is. What you're saying, because I just told you, and you're arguing.
Because you're making it
arguing because you don't sound like you're making any sense.
Bro, you're making it up.
Come on, man.
You're making it up.
You don't understand what you're asking for.
You're making it up. You just said yourself.
Explain to me what is the flying sword. What's that? Explain to me. You know.
It's a flaming sword. It's a sword with flames on it. That's all it is.
Right here in my hand, and
I don't have to create a fanciful story of what I believe about what it says. I know exactly what it says. It's a flaming sword. So I can imagine a sword with fire on it.
I have the verse right here with me.
No, brother, we want to talk about UFOs, not Bible study.
Yeah, let's talk about UFOs.
Yeah.
Hey, can I get into the UFO?
Let's stick to the UFOs, man.
Hey, can I get into the UFO?
This all I gotta say.
About UFOs.
Fasting. This all I gotta say.
Can I get into the UFO? I want to jump in there with something, right?
I'm with you, Fatal Dose. I'm with you, but let me say this to Fasting. It's an old proverb. My dad told me. He says, if one person come to you and they come across like an asshole, they are probably the asshole. But if everyone you talk to is an asshole, then they aren't the assholes. The asshole is you.
Right.
Okay. And what if the whole world has been brainwashed to be assholes? Does that make
Oh my God! Well, I mean, just jump, man. I wish they had you in the Olympics to jump poles.
If everybody,
you just move goalposts. I mean, you can. I mean, God damn.
And you're not eating shit. Does that make you the asshole?
Hey,
what?
That's
non sequitur.
Can we get into the UFO now?
You got stuck, right?
Yes, please. Come on, Faye.
I want to jump into this, right? Because I'm a big Trekkie. I've been like really deep into like sci-fi. I got 3 sci-fi book I wrote.
Me too.
Back in the late 80s, early 90s, you had Bob Lazar coming out. You had Behold the Pale Horse and all these talks. So I was really into UFOs. However, doing my research, I bumped into the Theosophical Society. Anybody familiar with them?
Yeah.
Elena Petrovna Blavatsky, and discovered that these people also believe in UFOs. However, the UFOs they believe in fact, this is where the entire New Age movement came out of. Steve Jobs was a New Ager, by the way.
And you see where it got him.
As I started studying,
too. Don't forget that.
Yeah. Right. So as I started reading on this stuff, I discovered that even the symbol that is used for the Federation and Star Trek came out of the Theosophical Society and the Elena Petrovna Blavatsky movement. And what I've discovered since from my research is that what we are considering UFOs, the brother earlier said that they're gods. He's partially right. They're actually what we would be consider to be demons and not gods. So the idea is now I'm getting into, well, this is a UFO show, so conspiracy isn't that big of a deal here.
Put it out there.
So what I've discovered is there's a conspiracy to teach us about UFOs, so that when the demons and when the demons finally make their appearance and come in and say we're your brothers from another world, that will accept them. Right now, I know we don't want to talk about the Bible, but there's something in the Bible that says the whole world would turn and fight against Christ. And I was asking myself, why would the whole world turn and fight against him if everybody know he was supposed to come back? Well, part of the Theosophical Society, what they teach is that that there's 2 groups out there that are fighting with each other, 2 groups of aliens, and they teach us that the first group is our friend, and the only thing I can think about is when that first group of demons show up, they're going to show up and say they're aliens, they're our friends, and that there's another group, there's another counter group that's going to come back, and that's the only thing I could think of that would cause us to turn around and fight Christ and God when they come back to the earth, because we've been conditioned to believe that they're just aliens, which to us they would look like aliens.
Okay, Fatal. You remember? You're a science fiction guy too. You remember in the 80s? It was a show. It was a miniseries called V, and they
Yeah, I
redid
remember
it in like 2008 or something like that.
Yeah.
It basically same premise, and it was all reptilians basically.
Yeah, but
Yep.
I wanted to correct the brother because you said demons, because that's a word that you will see it comes from the Bible. Demons are actually the children of those gods, right? So demons, the difference between the reason why I said it's not gonna be it's gonna be the gods coming. Why? Because demons now they're spirits, meaning they don't have the power to take human form, but the only people who can transform or get shape are the gods or angels. So
But fasting,
demons, let me explain. Let me say,
okay.
demons, because of their form, they can only possess bodies. They cannot transform. Only their fathers can. That's why even in the Bible tells you, right, when Jesus was casting out demons, what did the demons say? They said, "Don't send us to the abyss. Send us into these pigs." Why? Because they became lesser after the war of the Titans. When they die, when the body died, their spirit got locked. You know, it's like it's their punishment. They will be spirit. So they can't. They're lesser beings than the gods because they are their offspring. But the gods will be the ones who will come out in the open, right? That's why even the Bible tells you, it says what? It says even Satan is transformed into an angel of light, likewise his ministers. So the only ones who can transform are the gods, not demons. Demons are spirits. They can only possess a body. They cannot transform.
But okay, all right, fasting. Speaking to that point about demons, isn't it true that when you look at the Jewish Torah and the Talmud, they both say that prior to Adam and Eve, there was Lilith, and Lilith rutted with satanic creatures, and demons were born of her vagina.
Okay,
That was when she was cast
Isn't
out.
that where demons came
no,
from?
no,
Not
let me explain.
the children of angels, but
She couldn't actually have children herself.
Yeah, but
I thought she gave birth to demons, as far as I know.
no, let me explain.
No.
Lilith is a Jewish fable. The Talmud has nothing to do with the Torah. Remember,
The Talmud and the Torah, they both
let me
coincide
ask
because
you.
I mean everything
No,
from the Bible
actually,
is directly descended
Brother Lasha,
from.
have you
so
read the
hold on.
Talmud?
Hey
Have you read
guys,
the
hold on a
Talmud?
second.
I got it on my shelf right behind me, man.
Okay, watch
Hey,
this. Now,
hold on.
so let me ask you. You say you read the Talmud, so you explain to me why the Talmud talks about that the character of Yeshu is in a hell of excrement, burning. Explain to me.
What is this?
Wait, no, because you say
Man,
you have
because
the
they
Talmud.
believe
The
Jesus
reason
is the
is
same
Explain to me.
person.
you asking me to
Explain
explain
to me why
something
in the
that's
Talmud.
completely non
No,
sequitur.
I'm
So
because
I believe UFOs are
you
made of
claim you have,
titanium.
because
And
that's
it
why
Okay, let's
goes.
get back to
you
UFOs.
you
I'm
have
with you.
you say you have the Talmud, but I'm explaining to you the whole thing about Lilith is not in accordance with the Torah. Why? Because the Bible literally tells you the times, quote unquote, Nephilim came to be was in Genesis 6 after mankind or was already in existence. So
Okay,
no,
but what I'm saying
no,
is the Bible is directly descended
there was
from
no
the Torah.
Lilith sleeping with Adam.
The Bible is books that the
Hey,
Nicene Council
You,
took
you
and
just
cut up
hey,
you just throwing
can I
to
things.
make it
can I
fit.
jump in
You
here?
never read the
You
Talmud.
talking to an ex-Catholic that study every religion.
You
Come
never
on, man.
read the Talmud.
Hey,
I have.
so
That's why I know you
can I?
haven't. You say you have a book, but you've never read it. You're
Okay.
lying.
Hey,
You're
can
Oh,
I
I'm a
jump in
liar
here?
now. Okay.
All
You
right.
know what?
So
Fine. Back to
let's stop with the
UFO.
name. All right, let's stop with the name calling. But let me just say this, right? The Talmud is actually a 8th century book that was created to create the religion of Judaism. And
Right.
the Talmud actually looks at Jesus and God as the devil. The Talmud does not believe in the God of the Torah. The Torah is just used as a cover for their true beliefs. The
And the
Talmud
Jews don't look
itself.
at the God of the Bible or the Jesus of the Bible as the Messiah.
Right. They don't look at Jesus as the Messiah, and they don't look at God at the Bible as Messiah. In fact, they worship Saturn. This is now we could get into
Wait,
the
what?
hex. They worship Saturn. It's
I
Saturn
thought they
worship.
worshipped the Tetragrammaton, which is
Right.
the name of God.
That's Saturn.
Saturn.
That's Saturn.
That's
See, I know you never read the Talmud. Oh my God.
What? Continue,
Oh,
baby.
man.
So,
You gotta go back
so
to
that
your
is
studies, bro. It'll help you.
so that's the God
It's
Saturn.
not gonna help me. I'm living good, and I'm not on panels telling people about the King James version. I know I'm not doing that.
Hey, hopefully on the next live you'll be good too.
The next
Yeah.
life.
So
God
that these so you got to remember the Jews today believe in the Talmud and the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah is a book of that with secrets on how they could communicate with demons, right?
Yeah,
So that
Jewish witchcraft.
Yeah.
so they're Kabbalist Jews. They do not believe in the Bible. What they do is for the Goyim, as they call us, the outsiders that are non-Jews, they use the Bible to say this is what they believe in. But when you're in their synagogue and they're speaking, there's something totally different. They don't use the Torah at all. In fact, the Torah is just called the Torah, whereas the Talmud is called the Holy Talmud, and the Kabbalah is the Holy Kabbalah. Right. So
I mean, it's the same way how presidents, they quote unquote, you see them on TV, they say what they're swearing on the Bible, but everything they're doing is against the Bible. So no, they're not swearing on the Bible. Why? Because if they were reading the Bible says do not swear. No, the Bible don't tell you. It say don't raise your hand and swear to him. Why? Because it's like the earth is your witness. So God don't want you to swear. So them doing it, I'm swearing the Bible is actually against the Bible. So right there, even show you they're not doing what is like. It's counterintuitive. How are you gonna swear in the Bible if the Bible says don't swear? It's stupid.
Okay, all right. Well,
I heard that UFOs they run off of stardust, and we gotta get back to UFOs, brother. I mean,
yes, exactly.
We have a theological discussion.
Because anytime fasting come on the panel, that's what it's gonna break down to, man.
And I'm not trying to take over, brother, but
I mean, you telling
he's afraid of this fire and brimstone that I'm bringing. That's why, heathens, the Bible says they tremble when they stand before a lion. A man
not trembling.
Okay, well, you know what? Well, you know what, man. Find you a corner to go and hold your book, and go find you a corner and go scream at white folks about that shit. We trying to talk about that. Hey, goddamn, dude. I mean, you took us way off topic. It's Tinfoil Tuesdays, UFOs and aliens. We trying to talk about UFOs and aliens, man.
This is what happens when heathens are facing the Lion of Judah.
Now you can call me a heathen until you breathe your last fucking breath. I don't give a shit. You see now, you know what? You getting me hot. And I'm one of the people that told myself I'm not trying to get hot.
Hey, you know why?
Because I mean,
there's another fire on the other side which you should stay away from. It's hotter than
you know what? A fire on the other side. Well, the Jews don't believe in it. I remember watching. I remember talking to a Jew, and then watching the episode of some show I forget, and the lawyer was Jewish, and then and the other lawyer came on to him. You gonna go to hell? He's like, we don't believe in hell.
Do you know that many?
so if the people who came up with the religion that you believe don't believe in hell, why do you?
Lasher, do you know that many Christians are actually gonna go to hell? Do you know that? The Bible says that. Do you know that?
There's 7 billion motherfuckers on this planet. There ain't enough room in hell.
If you read the Bible,
can we move?
Can we move on? Fantastic, please. Can we move on, man?
Yeah, hey, Fancy, we gotta have a combo about the UFOs, man. You done
Oh man, my nigga Eisen jumped off. I'm trying to hear from Herb Gotti and Eisen and all that. They're entertaining people. Come on, man.
Fantastic, you're right, because
damn.
We got some people in the audience got probably pegged by aliens, so that's why they
if they did, we wouldn't be equal for views and watches right now.
Well, hey, anybody?
I mean, literally. Come on, man.
Anybody got?
People ain't trying to hear that shit you talking about, dude.
Anybody got pegged?
Nobody trying to hear that shit you talking about, because what you do is you jump on panels and you take over them, and then. That's everybody here for 2 hours about the Bible and blah 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 yaggy smacky. Nobody want to hear that shit. Come on to these UFOs, Jack.
Lasher, where's your evidence of your accusation?
We living it right now, brother. I'm sorry.
Man,
we living it right now. I mean,
Nobody
I'm
want to hear
sorry,
that
man.
shit.
My mother's a pastor, bro. I grew up in the Amy Zion Church, man. Come on, bro. I was an usher. Come on, man. You're killing me, brother. Let's talk about UFOs.
Exactly, brother.
Yeah.
Hey,
Can we,
you're not talking to a quote unquote typical Christians. That's not me. The churches they don't even read the Bible. So
So
if
okay. So you just know everything about the Bible,
so
everything there is to know about it. Why don't you go preach? Go make you some
hey,
money somewhere.
I see the
can I
Bible
finish
gets you
talking about
worked
the
up.
God
aliens?
damn.
How do you hate the Bible?
Ain't
Can
nobody
I
piling
finish
on
what I was
Gemini
saying?
605. Ain't
Hey,
nobody piling on
you
fasting.
just say for us to move on, right? Why are you coming about the Bible? I see you got some hatred for the Bible. Why?
I ain't got no hatred for the Bible. I
Uh,
mean, you believe what you want to believe.
So why haven't you moved on? You just say a few seconds
I
ago.
have moved on. You just won't shut the fuck
No,
up.
no, because you know why? Because you love the Bible. It gets you all worked up. You know?
Not really.
Yeah. Well, what's it saying? Love is hatred.
I don't love nobody but my family.
You love that
Home
Bible.
skillet.
You love
Now
the
let's
Bible.
go on. Let's move on.
can I finish my point on the
Oh
UFO
yeah, go ahead.
conspiracy?
Go ahead.
Oh yeah,
Fatal
go ahead.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
I respect your opinion.
let's hear to move on topic. Thank you, sir.
Now I don't know if the validity of all of this, but I just wanted to throw out here that there is a segment of the elite who believe that the aliens on their side, they worship them, they take DMT to communicate with them, and what they're telling us aliens are is something different than what they believe aliens are. Right.
Yeah, I heard about
So
the DMT, and I know Joe Rogan talks about it a lot, as he takes DMT.
yeah,
And
if
the
right,
mechanical cybernetic aliens that he's seeing is hallucinations
the
and things.
machine
Yeah,
elves,
machine elves. That's
the machine elves.
didn't
Yeah, yeah.
Terrence McKenna talk about those as
Terrence
well?
McKenna. Yeah, Terrence McKenna was a big, what was big in the '60s for pushing LSD and having these trips where you can go and speak to these entities, and they
All the
will
way
tell
up
you
to the
things to do.
'90s, pretty much.
Oh yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah.
with that
Terrence McKenna
time
was
wave
big.
zero and his whole theories about novelty increasing in the universe.
Right, and it's not just DMT. Well, DMT is the main thing, but you could take pure DMT, or you could take things like ayahuasca, even weed. You smoke enough of it, you'll be able to communicate with those entities. I know people who's had so I know a couple of people who were smoking weed all day, and by the end of the day, they were communicating. They thought they were talking to God, but it wasn't. I mean, but obviously it wasn't God they were talking to. It's just they were pulled into this vortex, into this world, right? So, and the thing about it is, with those experiences, everyone have the same experience. So if there's like three of us in a room doing DMT, we'll have the exact same experience. And this is why a lot of people are saying that, like, there's no way that your trip is exactly the same as mine, because our mind don't work the same way. If it's all based on how our mind work, right, we would not be experiencing the exact same thing. So these entities that are providing directions on how to do things are all have to be some form of I mean, they're extraterrestrial, but the question is whether they're malevolent or not,
And they
right? Because the
communicate with
things,
us on those wavelengths when you're in those
right,
states. Have you ever heard
right.
of Richard Schultes?
No, I haven't heard of him. Who's he?
Richard Schultes was this guy during the 60s and 70s. He was kind of along the same lines as I can't recall his name around the Tikal and Pakal guy. And what he did was he took a journey into Brazil, into the jungles of the Amazon. He was the first. When I read about him in the '90s, he was the first person that I read about that was talking about ayahuasca,
Right.
Yage or whatever, the Jaguars,
Hmm.
um, whatever you call it, sacrament, and he was like the first person I heard talking about it, and from him is where I had learned about Terrence McKenna and everything else. I mean, granted, this is not definitely UFO talk, but it is UFO tangent.
Right, right. Yeah, well, the idea here is that the UFOs may be more than what meets the eye, and the one thing that solidified my belief that they do exist is I used to travel a lot, right? And coming out of I was coming from Houston, flying to New York, and it was me and my boss on the plane, and then right next to us there was like a UFO flying on the plane next to us, right? And we were like, "What the hell?" Right? Because up until then it was just talk. I've never had that experience. And then, the crazy part about it is like people like my boss, when we got to the office on Monday, this was a Friday evening, we were flying back home. On Monday, I told these guys, "Yo, we saw UFOs." And my boss looked at me, he's like, "I don't know what he's talking about." Like, and I'm looking at him like, "You saw it with me?" He's like, "Nah, I don't know what he's talking about." And then he calls me in his office, like, "Don't you ever tell people I was like, what are you, crazy?" So you have a lot of people that have those experiences because it's not acceptable. They won't talk about it. They'll hide it.
Me as a truck driver, we see a lot of stuff at night, man. Like some things that we see, people never believe it. I remember I saw the biggest meteor explosion ever in my life. First, I saw it was like a bright light. At first, I was like, "Is that a plane?" And then it grew bigger. You know how when you watch those space movie where when when a star or a planet explodes? So I saw a big light, right? But he turned green, kind of like the movie Meteor Man, right? And it was shooting down, and as it's shooting down slowly, it grew bigger, and they did that star explosion. Now check this out.
Meteor Man was
tonight, and me telling someone who's gonna believe me? I'm gonna believe me. We see a lot of stuff, especially if you're driving through the desert where there's no clouds. That's when you see a lot of stuff. I'll see shooting star. I'll see like meteorites. So we see a lot of stuff at night. Yeah, there's a lot.
I agree with you on that. Especially
I agree with you on that. I got a telescope right out back.
Yeah, you can see a lot of stuff at night.
You can't always trust a telescope. Why? Because you're looking at the interpretation of what's out there.
God damn. God.
Yeah, I mean, earlier.
No. Is it an interpretation or a magnification? I don't know if it's an interpretation.
It's the light that's hitting you from how far away it is.
No, when you say it's an interpretation, you act like the telescope make up a whole. It's not like a kaleidoscope.
But in a way, the reason why I say an interpretation, why? Because remember, we talk about lights, right? They say you're able to see because light, the way your eyes is converting, how just like I took photography class, right? When it comes to lenses and all that stuff, if you have enough light, the image that you're trying to take will look different. So right there, it's an interpretation. Y'all maybe look like you may have people with 5 different cameras, and each of those cameras may have a different form of the image based on the what's the term I'm looking, where how much light is going in, right? That's why you have different
lenses. The aperture.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Don't always trust your telescope. You only see what your telescope wants you to see, basically.
That's not true. I owned a bunch of telescopes. In fact, early on the Bernard Raleigh show, when we got into that flat Earth conversation, I like I said, I own a lot of telescopes. I own different cameras.
How do you know they didn't make it so you see what you see?
Dude, I can make a telescope. All a telescope is a mirror in the bottom of it
did you
magnifying glass on top.
Those pieces together? Did you make it everything?
Yes, I actually did. I have.
So wait, hold on. Did you melt the glass? Did you melt the glass?
So are you telling him that they use stuff off the front of the telescope?
We know black people don't have time to go out there and actually make that glass from scratch. Come on, don't lie to us.
Well, who says?
Oh my God! You know that glass is just a mirror, right?
Hey, that's your interpretation.
It's plenty of black people that blow glass to make weed bowls. You think them same people can't blow glass to make lenses for telescopes?
Hey,
are you fucking kidding me?
Hold on. So,
Sony,
when you look in the mirror,
you have a mirrorless camera right now, and it does use aperture. It brings in light, and I understand what you're trying to say, but that telescope is not like that wireless camera. That telescope does not. It does not bring in extra light to help convert the picture.
No, it just takes in the light that's out there over a period of time.
Hey, what's up? Hey, could I add something to it real quick?
Okay, go ahead.
You know what? I've been waiting to hear from you, bro.
Yeah.
Let me. Go ahead, man, because I know you're gonna try to jump on me too, but I hope you
No, I
ain't
ain't jumping
crazy.
on. I'm staying with. Nah, bro. I'm not even going there. I just want to jump on the telescope thing. Now, what we do is a telescope can, and it can show you something, but let's remember that we're comparing it to the illustrations that NASA has told us. Like if you look at look through a telescope to see what they call Jupiter, you will not see that picture that NASA shows you.
No, because they enhance the color so that you can
No,
actually see what it looks like.
no, I'm just saying, like through the
there's
most
no color.
powerful. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Through the most powerful telescope you can get, you will not see that perfect illustration that NASA shows you of Jupiter being this brownish thing, giant planet with a thin ring, and that you won't see that with that
No.
that red
Yeah,
eye
so-
floating around.
No,
So
the
here's what
reason
you
why
see
you
on the
won't
telescope.
is
But
because
also remember that
the reason you won't see that is because we live in a void, a dark black void where the only light is the light shining on it from Sol or planet the sun, if you want to call it that. Sol.
I'm not even going that far. I'm just saying in terms of to relate to what we describing, like we all have to take on faith that those pictures that NASA is telling us is what it is, because we can't verify that by even the observatory telescope won't verify those illustrations.
Right.
So you have to.
So NASA.
But if you get the right home,
right?
if you get the right home telescope, you can see pretty much as far as Neptune.
Well,
No,
during the daytime, but to be honest with you,
during the daytime.
But to be honest with you, all I
remember,
see is
Einstein
really.
also.
So I have 8-inch and 12-inch telescopes, right? Dobsonian telescopes, like top of the line telescope. I'm talking about you spend a pretty $1 to get on those, right?
12-inch lens.
Yeah.
For
12-inch
for the
reflecting.
main reflecting lens.
Yeah, 12 inches, 8 inches. I have those, right? Dobsonian, top of the line stuff, right? And here's the problem, right? NASA, from the 40s and 50s, was drawing pictures of Jupiter with colors on it, right? There's nothing that you have on Earth that can see colors. Even a lot of people don't even understand that the Hubble telescope doesn't take pictures. It records sound waves.
It does long aperture, open apertures. That's why the Hubble telescope took a picture of the entire universe. Have you seen the deep field?
It's a rendition of what so what they do is they use software, software and things like Photoshop to show you the picture they think the telescope is telling them is out there based on what they're receiving back from.
They definitely do. They definitely do color adjustment. Yeah, we all know that.
So what the brother just say confirm what the Hog was saying. He's saying, like I said earlier, it's an interpretation. You're not seeing the whole thing because of light, right? Because we are on Earth. So nobody went to Jupiter to take the picture. So at the end, that's why if
the satellite did.
Look what it says. It says artist rendition. Artist rendition. So
no, it's not completely an artist rendition.
It's an interpretation at the end of the day. So we don't know how Jupiter looks like. So that picture is fake news, basically.
But also remember too, in science, when you look at deep stars, the rule is that, like Einstein said, when you look into space, you're looking back in time. So if you were to see a supernova 24 light years away, when you see the explosion, it actually occurred 24 years ago. I mean, it took 24 years to actually get here.
For that light to hit us, the same way it takes 8 minutes for the light from our sun to hit our planet. Yeah, we know that.
So here's the problem I have with that. Who took the measurements? Who went out there and measured that a light year is a million miles?
Because you can measure wavelengths of light.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
Yes, you can. We measure wavelengths. Do you have a prism?
This is what they tell you.
It's an interpretation.
It's not. If you have a prism, you can set it on your desk and shine a flashlight at it, and it'll reflect rainbows.
Right. So now
because those are different gradations of radiation.
And I understand that, right? But how does that tell you that it takes 8 seconds for the light from the sun to hit the Earth? You can't measure that. And let me
It
tell you
takes 8
something. Here's
minutes,
what,
not 8 seconds.
I'm sorry, 8 minutes, right? So here's what I'm getting at, right? The way that NASA figured out how to measure distance, right, is based on triangulation. So what they did is during the Earth's rotation in the let's say in the morning at 6 a.m. they triangulate, they take one measurement, and at 6 p.m. on the other side, they take another measurement. And the furthest that triangulation can go, if you do it from, like, if you wait from spring to fall to do it, is 400 light years. That's the max it can go for
No,
triangulation.
dude.
So
At the end of the day,
They
nobody
go look it up.
knows.
measure it
Go look it up.
from they measure it
Go look it up.
from the
Go,
light on the horizon, and from when it passes the horizon, which is called sunrise, until it gets to a certain point 8 minutes later. That
no.
light hits us 8
So how
minutes
do you
later.
know that? How do you know that's the same light that's hitting? Right? You don't. All
Because
you
it's
see
from
is
our
light. You don't.
sun. It's from our
Right,
star.
but the
You can
sun
do the
is continue.
math.
The sun is continuously burning and sending out light. But the point I'm
Yeah, but
making,
our
that's
planet ain't always towards the
so
sun. That's why it rotates.
so that's beyond the point I'm making. The point I'm making is all of the measurements that NASA is telling you, those astronomical numbers. Well, Sirius is 200 billion light years away. They cannot measure that far. Go
Yeah,
look it up.
Okay.
I'm
All
not
right.
saying it's
How
gonna come
come?
out
How come?
fast.
All right. Now you talking about Sirius.
Mhm.
The star Sirius, which is in Orion. How come? Like Stone Age brothers in Africa know.
The Dogon tribe
Uh, yeah, the Dogon tribe know about
of Mali.
how far Sirius A and B is from the Earth with their primitive mathematics.
Right, and that's the point I'm making, right? You could use whatever math you want, but unless you go out there and measure it, because
So I mean,
you're
how the
doing
hell are
it
we supposed to measure it? We can't even go that far.
exactly,
so last year,
exactly. So
that's
why
what
do
we're
you
trying to
say
say. It's not a fact. It's a
it's an
theory, and
opinion?
yeah, that's what I say. It's
But
like
I mean, do we know
science
the?
can't
Do
give
y'all
it
know
as a fact.
the definition of theory? Because it's one theory. You got the theory that you come with after you do the 5 steps of the scientific method, and then the other definition of theory is something that we know to be a fact, but there is doubt.
So no, watch this,
So
bro.
if
I'm
it's
a truck
out, it
driver, right?
can be a
I
fact.
can drive from Houston, right, depending on a particular point, to Dallas. Guess what? I know the measurement. It will never change. So you mean to tell me say, okay, this distance is gonna be, let's say, 202 miles, always, every time. I can give you that measurement. Why? Because it's a fact. I can prove it, right? But can you prove to me the distance from here to the sun? No, you can't. It's all assumption. It's based on someone's interpretation, but nobody knows why, because nobody measure from here to the sun. So at the end of the day,
So
science
But I
tries to
can
fix
show
it as
you
a
that
fact.
every single day on
so
this planet, from the horizon, when the sun hits the horizon, to the first aperture of sunrise, is 8 minutes. No
right, it
matter
takes
where you
8 minutes.
stand
So
You
hold
know
on
on,
this
hold
what?
on,
You know
fucking
what?
planet.
hold on, hold on.
No, there is an answer to this. Them aliens and them UFOs know the answer to this.
No, they don't.
They probably do. They probably do. And listen to this.
They
Listen to
Stop,
got
this.
man.
Listen.
everything.
Stop.
Hey, listen to this, right? So
The aliens, they don't know
God
everything,
damn.
bro.
what you're experiencing, hey, bro, what you're experiencing is 8 minutes that it takes for the light to move to you. But that doesn't mean that's how long it took the light to get to
Yes,
from the
yeah.
sun to where you are. And that's what I'm getting at. So what you're doing is you're taking the micro experience that you can prove, and you're using it for the macro, which is what NASA does, right?
But no, the
When
light shines, the light of Saul, our sun, shines on the earth 24 hours a day, somewhere
yeah.
on earth,
But
as
but
this
well,
planet rotates.
So wait, hold up. I got this
So,
for you. So if
and the
you're on
same thing
Mars,
can be replicated in any place.
Brother Fedor,
so
just add
if
before
you
you
so
go, right?
by what you
Brother Fedor,
say,
hold on. Brother Fedor, hold on. To just add to what you said earlier, you have to remember, brother, last year he's speaking from the perspective that the Earth is round, not flat.
Oh, here we go again.
No, I'm speaking from the round Earth,
We ain't
from the
talking about
globular
that
Earth
flat Earth
perspective as
shit that you
well.
was talking about last week. We talking about UFOs, aliens,
So
and space shit.
so
So cut it
Please,
out.
brother, please.
so the only way to prove this is if you go on the moon or Mars and you do the exact same experiment and you get the exact same
But you wouldn't get the same
response.
number because
No, no.
because Mars is further away from us.
Right. And the point I'm
It's the
making is,
fourth
if
planet,
that's the
not the
case,
third.
right.
So it takes
You can
longer for sun
calculate.
to hit Mars than it does to hit us.
Exactly. So you can calculate the distance from Mars to the Earth and remove that from the time. But there hasn't been any other. You can't make. There's no control, right? With any
Oh,
experiment,
it's
you got to
plenty of
have
control
some
because we can
control.
control
No, there isn't.
we can control what it applies to our planet. Once we get a human being on Mars, we will.
Well, I mean,
That's going to be like literally the first thing they do when they get off the ship. They're going to say, okay, it's a bunch of red rocks and shit, and it's all carbon dioxide. We can't breathe it. Let's set up this thing so we can measure to see how long it takes the sun to get here. Because
but how can you land on a moving on a living being that's always moving? You can't.
So until then,
a living being is always moving. I mean, the planet, yeah, okay, I can go with that. The planet is alive because it provides life.
Mars, it's the name of a god. It's a moving god.
A moving god. See,
yeah, it's a living thing. What do you think they call a planet? Planets means moving luminary. That it come from Greek planetaris. Planetus. Yeah.
So until we make that experiment,
hold on. Fantastic. I know you there. You muted up, but I know you listening.
What up, man?
Did you set me up, nigga?
No, nigga.
Because real talk, it seems like you set me up to have to talk to these. Pedro knows I fucks with him. You know what I'm saying? But goddamn,
that's fasted, man. I mean, you know. Guess what? I mean,
damn it, man.
Don't be afraid. I got the fire and brimstone, man. Don't worry. You gotta be.
It's not about fire brimstone, man. You ain't. Hey. This is the thing. We all brothers. You ain't gotta come in hard on the motherfucker to say to get your point across.
No, I'm not coming at you. I'm coming for your mouthpiece.
Oh man! Look,
what about you can't stop my mouthpiece, dog. I mean, granted, I don't jump up on panels. I mean, it's probably like the second or third panel I ever jumped up on. I don't jump up on panels. You know what I'm saying? I trade stocks. I trade stocks and play video games. That's what I do for a living, and enjoy studying about our space, this universe we live in, reality. And for fun, UFOs and things like this. I mean, this is something that don't try to. I mean, I'm 42 fucking years old. I mean, I don't need you to school me on nothing.
No. So you need to do this more often. Why? There's a difference between knowledge and.
Can I say something, brother? Fast, let me ask you a question. So, since you're such a theologian, what do you think about the CERN project?
Oh yeah.
Let's get into CERN. Let's get into CERN.
Right? I got you, brother. You can't bully the whole panel, brother.
No, the CERN project.
I like you though, bro.
Hey, you're asking me a question. Let me answer. Okay. At one point, when I was studying about CERN, right, I had this understanding that CERN was basically the secret people trying to basically open the gates.
The who people?
The secret people, the gods basically trying to open the gates to the other side, right? Because I remember reading a magazine where they were talking about how they brought a bunch of scientists or physicians, right, to work on the CERN project. And when the first time when they activated the machine, there is a veil, right? Whenever the portal opened up, they saw a darkness, and they say like I think a few millimeter of that liquid, or it's kind of liquidy thing crossover, the people in that room started going crazy, so they shut down, and they were hearing voices and stuff like that, but it was darkness. So they were based on their experiment, they say that there is a veil covering the earth, right? And that veil basically it's protecting us from the darkness on the other side. And then if years later, I also discovered that they say CERN is not just only from quote unquote trying to open the portal to another dimension, but it's also how they use it as a weapon to create weather. So all the weather that you see, it's not natural. It's being caused by those machines. So whenever you see the hurricane, it's not natural. It's man-made.
That's actually HARP. You're
Okay.
You're trying to bring two machines in together. I will admit they have tried to use seismic, as far as on the ground, but they have used HARP to control actual weather and the flow of clouds.
Well, HARP is just an abbreviation, but that's what I'm saying. They all connected. They all working together. You can.
That's true. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
But okay, Fast, and what you talking about is Stranger Things, dude. Because what you saying that CERN is about is not what they're about.
Have you ever heard this quote? Truth is stranger than fiction. Have you heard that quote before?
Yeah, I have, and I understand that.
So that's what I say. Don't be surprised.
But that's the thing. They're not trying to open a portal into the veil of darkness or anything like this. I mean, you've been playing Warhammer 40,000 something.
Hey, can you prove what it sounds like? Do you have to prove that it's not?
What CERN does is they study the particles that make up the fundamental universe that we live in. Whether they bosons, which is what they call a God particle, the bosons, and I shouldn't have said that because that's gonna get you on another tangent. Gluons, up quarks, down quarks, and strange quarks. That's what they study.
I mean, were you in the meetings on what
antimatter?
Or are you just repeating what they told you what it's about?
Well, goddamn! If nobody can tell me nothing, but whatever you read can tell you something, and it's the truth. I'm saying, how do you live life? I mean, come on, man.
How strange is that than what you're saying? That's what I'm saying.
It's not strange. It's not strange. Why? It's not strange.
It is strange.
We live in a planet where we got people trying to.
No, we don't live in a planet.
No, we live on a planet.
No, we live on.
Regardless of what you're saying about it being flat Earth and all that, it's not. We don't live on a planet. We live on a planet where people trying to understand the fundamental like properties of the goddamn universe, which I think we should commend them for. Well, you got motherfuckers that still live in the Stone Age that ain't invented the fucking wheel. Come on, man. I mean,
moves.
You can believe. You can read them books you believe. The Earth does and listen to them go herders that live even 2,000 years ago, or you can live in today and try to move forward into the future.
I just talked to Spock. He said that fasting is right. You're wrong. So the aliens are on my side, bro. So what are you gonna say now?
I'm not talking about fucking aliens because you got us off the goddamn topic.
Wait, the aliens.
Every time we try to talk about it, you start talking about some old other shit.
That was alien language. Can you speak that?
Stop, dude.
See?
Just give it a rest. Give it a rest. Whatever that shit is you doing, that DMT or whatever it is you fucking smoking, get off it.
The Bible says you have to be sober.
Here we go. The Bible says.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna read a book written by a bunch of fucking goat herders.
Hey, that's why you get worked up by them. I guess I
get worked up because it's niggas like you that exist on this goddamn planet that still believe the shit that you fucking believe when we trying to progress into the goddamn future.
You believe in aliens?
Yeah, you motherfucking right.
So who's more crazy, me or you?
You, obviously you. And anybody that's in the damn comments can tell you that you the crazy motherfucker.
You know you done fucked up, right? But you just shot yourself in the foot. You know that, right?
I shot myself in the fucking foot.
Hey, anybody? You just say you niggas believe, and then you believe in aliens. So who's the crazy nigga?
You niggas believe in aliens. I mean, come on, dude.
Wait, aren't you a nigga too? So you
But
crazy.
no, that's what you just said to me.
No, you just
to
said
believe
earlier,
to
you-
believe
you
that
believe
other.
in
All
God,
right, you so fucking
I asked you, I said, do you
smart.
believe in aliens? You
No,
say
no,
yes.
listen. You
I
so
said, who's
smart
crazy?
and you so fucking erudite to believe that a motherfucker like you are the most intelligent species in the goddamn universe, and it's only people like you. That's what makes you ridiculous.
Let me ask you, who's out there?
I don't know who's out there, but that's not
How
what
do you know?
matters.
E.T.
So how do you
E.T.
know?
is out there. E.T. is out
So how
there.
do you know that we're not the only one? You just
I
said
know we ain't the only ones.
How do you know? Where's your proof?
You know why? You know why we ain't the only ones? And I'll tell you this. Because any God that's so awesome to be able to create an entire fucking universe full of planets, stars, creatures, and everything from literally from the subatomic level to the top wouldn't be stupid enough to let fucking goat herders and let them write a book to tell you how to live your goddamn life.
So let me
and only silly enough to let you to believe that you the only kind of motherfucker that exists in a vast space of nothing.
I heard you.
Come on, man.
Let me ask you this
sound
question.
silly, dude.
Let me ask you this question.
And you know what? I'm not one of them people that get hot about shit, but I'm getting hot about this. Not because of the UFOs, not because of the aliens, but because you sound ignorant.
I'll let you speak. Let me ask you.
And I don't like ignorant niggas.
Let me ask you these simple questions. Are you a god?
No.
Okay.
And I don't want to be.
Okay. So if you're not a god, who are you to say how a god should think and what he should do with his godliness?
Put it like this. I'll put it to you like this.
Okay.
When the aliens and the UFOs you say that I believe in, which I do, when they come to this planet and they start preaching the same shit you do, then I'll believe what you believe.
So
until then, fuck that.
So your answer, you're basically saying, I'm not a god, but you know what? Since I believe that I'm smarter than God, I can tell a God.
No, I don't believe I'm smarter than God because I can't understand how God thinks. But at the same time, I know a God that's intelligent enough to put the intelligence in me to know that it's a vast fucking universe full of multiple possibilities.
You just
to fucking sound like you. Get the fuck out of here.
You just show yourself in a fool again, right? You know that you know you've done it a few times. Everybody in the chat knows, right? You know you don't show yourself in the food, right?
I'm showing myself to be a fool.
You just said. You said, why would a God? And I ask you, are you a God? You say no. Why would I want to be? You a mere mortal trying to tell how a God should act. Okay, if a God without his power say, you know what? I'm going to make you stupid as people. All you can do is say ABC. Who are you to tell him that he should make you smarter than that? Who are you? You're nothing.
I can't speak for God.
You can't even think from ABC. So,
but you know what? If I'm nothing, so are you.
Wild. You're not a God. Who are you to tell how God should do? Like I say, you're going against your own speech. How can
you right? Troll hell.
I don't have the power to create the sun. I don't have the power to create life from nothing. Tell God how he should communicate to us. That's why I hear from a lot of atheists. They be like, well, why didn't God do this? And ask him,
last thing. I didn't come to church, man. I came to talk about aliens.
It's fasting, not lasting.
Fasting, I'm sorry. My bad. My bad.
Was that fatal dose?
Yeah, my bad.
You know one thing I noticed about your video? That guy, he got a robe and a Bible. So, like I say, you love the Bible.
That's not a Bible. That's the book of sayings.
It's okay. We understand. I understand.
Even I can see that. Come on.
You love that book. I know. That's why you love talking about it. It's okay. The Bible says, well, cast all your cares upon him. He loves you. He wants you to.
I tell you what, on Sunday, you can have that conversation.
Man. All right, we we trying to talk about the UFOs and shit, man. So I heard y'all talking about
Okay.
CERN.
All right. I'll let them.
Come on, fantastic. Talk about CERN, dog.
Yeah, I heard y'all talking about CERN. So we get to talking about CERN, okay, and that's another great thing too. So we talk about UFOs and aliens, then we get into black holes and I guess hypersonic travel, right? Of course, right? That would be
Hypersonic. Well, it was not sonic because
light speed. I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah,
light speed travel.
hyperspace.
Yeah,
hyperspace,
or
and
light
then
speed travel.
A Lasher.
Wormholes and shit.
So we get into those concepts.
What's up, Fatal?
So here's my thought on CERN. I do believe that CERN can open up a portal to another universe or another realm, right? That's my thought on it. And I think that's what these guys were really trying to do is figure out how to open up.
You Borgin, bro.
Yeah, they getting you, man. You that's real shit. They fucking with your sound.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you good.
Yeah.
So there was The Expanse. Anyone seen that show? Sci-fi show?
Yeah. I read the books. I haven't seen the show. Is it actually good?
Oh, watch it, man. Get on Amazon Prime and watch that, man. It's awesome.
I got Amazon Prime. I just haven't watched it. I read it, so I'm one of them people. You read it first, then you don't want to watch it. But I'm the reverse. Like if I watch the movie first, then I can enjoy both the book and the movie.
Well, what's the name of it?
The Expanse.
The Expanse. Okay.
Yeah, Expanse. Yeah, so in The Expanse, there's a portal, and I'm doing a little spoiler here, but in The Expanse, which was that season 4? There's a portal that was open where you had like the portal essentially took you to other realms, or you could say other universe if you want to get into string theory and things like that.
Was it actual other realms, or was it the same universe through wormholes?
Yeah, it's just you could say it's wormholes.
Okay, so we're talking about our same actual physical universe.
Yeah, but the difference is, like, if you're familiar with like Stargate or other wormhole theory where you actually have to travel, it was it's not, it doesn't play out the same way, but you can kind of see that how they playing off of the wormhole. So my thought on this when I look at CERN is they're trying to do something similar where they can open up other realms or wormhole or whatever you want to call it for them to get access to these things, right? And I did hear on another guy that was talking about this a while back, saying that they actually saw these other realms. The problem is it was so unstable that they thought it would actually cause a catastrophic explosion that could destroy the Earth, so they shut it down.
Okay. Have you seen 3022?
No, I haven't seen that.
It's on Netflix. 3022 with Omar Epps.
Oh, you know what? I know what you're talking about. I started watching it, but it was like kind of corny.
It's slow. It is slow. It's slow and it's kind of corny. But ultimately, and this is a spoiler, like you said, what happened was, we had people past Mars that was going, they had settlements on Europa, which is the fifth moon of Jupiter, which is known to be a ice water planet, or ice water moon, as we know. And it's basically every 10 years, every country will like rotate out, their crew that runs the like stop away station. And then basically the Earth blew up when some people were in orbit in like what was it, International Space Station. And so they started traveling towards the stopaway station, heading toward Europa. And I guess whatever it was that CERN did, they opened a black hole on the planet, and that caused the planet to implode and start to explode. So implode, explode, and do both, basically.
A singularity.
Yeah, they created a singularity, which is what what we call a Big Bang or whatever, on the planet, and they can control it, and it causes the planet to basically explode and implode at the same time.
Yeah, so that's an interesting concept though. So if and
that's
that
the
would
shit
be,
that CERN is doing, and I will admit that is what they're doing.
yeah, they're trying to the
particles.
God particle, yeah.
Well, they've already got the God particle, the Higgs boson.
They want to glue the God particle.
Now, see what we want to do now is get the Higgs boson and utilize it to create antimatter, which reacts with matter in the opposite thing. So basically, it's like smashing two walls together, and when they both smash together at equal speeds, they cause annihilation, which everything on both sides explodes or becomes destroyed. But antimatter, which we've already created, is the highest priced actual matter in the universe. Like 12 atoms of antimatter cost like $12 trillion.
Did you know that
but antimatter before you go in, Irv,
go ahead, brother.
But antimatter can power the entire city of New York for 1 year from 2 atoms. Yeah, because it creates that much energy.
Yeah, but like you said, the process in it is the danger.
Yeah, exactly. The process is the danger. So what we need to do, the program, from what I read, is once we created it and got it stable enough to keep it in a vacuum, which is what they do in CERN, take it out into space, get on the moon, which would be our first base off Earth, obviously, because we've already had people go there. If y'all want to believe that,
no one believes in moon landing, bro.
Okay, quote unquote, but that's my belief, and I'm gonna go with that. So we set up a base there on the moon, and then we produce antimatter there on the moon to use to power ships to go faster than light speed and to be able to power everything on our planet, plus any new settlements that we set up on Mars and that we set up on Europa, which will be the next stop after Mars, to be able to power those as well.
Warning, animator content will break down in 5 minutes.
What you said, what now?
But what I was going to say is they're doing this all over the country. Believe it or not, if you see a nuclear power plant, they have all these homemade or man-made lakes you see. There is a CERN project-ish, a nuclear power plant all over this country. They played with smaller versions of it for a very long time.
Well, the nuclear lakes, every nuclear power plant has a lake. The reason why is because they need water to cool the rods for nuclear
centrifuge. So this was a precursor to CERN. All this was a precursor to CERN.
Well, actually, we came up with it first in the United States, and CERN, being that they are the Europeans are just an older society, they just got more advanced science than we do. They just don't run with it the same way we do. And CERN is a multinational conglomeration.
Yeah, exactly.
Of different countries.
It's a global scientific feat that they're trying to pull
and they put it in Switzerland because Switzerland is neutral, so they can't be attacked by anybody.
They kicked America out though. America's not part of it.
No, America's always part of it. We have our scientists there too.
Yeah, and not only that, people have to understand. If you understand the whole story, how those countries came to be, like you have to look at the area where Switzerland is. It's a very mountainous area, and a lot like they got their Air Force on the in the caves. You see like a person, living in the house or whatever, right? But then you see like a door open and a plane flying. So they got a lot of things on the ground. So that's why it's no surprise that they have CERN on the ground, because it's a mountainous land. So they have a lot of their stuff on the ground. So they
it's
they're
way
really
underground.
when it comes to
It's like 11 to 12 miles underground, and the actual the particle accelerator is like 12 miles in diameter.
Yeah, and I don't know how. Yeah, like I don't know how long. Like it's crazy. But yeah, man, like you said, it's like, and that's the part too. Like, so you get into it really, and we get into the scientific aspect of it, and you know how everything starts out with entertainment and commercial or whatnot. You got teleportation in Star Trek. I fucked around and said, and then you have
you talked about that earlier. You talked about teleportation too.
Yeah, then you,
I mean, where they were teleporting quantum particles, because they can only do it at the particle level right now.
Yeah.
So but at the same time, the universe is made up in a way where there's this thing called quantum entanglement. So it means that every particle, every electron exists at every particular place, everywhere at the same time. So basically,
you're referring to Schrodinger's cat.
No, not Schrodinger's. Not Schrodinger's cat.
Theory.
It's not Schrodinger's cat. It's quantum entanglement. It's a little bit different, because Schrodinger's cat is more of, I got this cat in a box, and he got a nuclear thing on one side, a non-nuclear thing on the other side, and we don't know how it's going to react because we're not observing it. The second we observe how it reacts is what determines how it reacts.
Yeah. You actually watch it. You actually watching it determins the thing. Yeah, that's the trying to remove
Schrodinger's cat is
the stimuli of you looking at it, making have a different reaction.
Determines the outcome.
Yeah, exactly.
So Schrodinger's cat refers to the idea that you have essentially goes into string theory, where the cat will exist in every time and space at the exact same time.
Every single position in a quantum state until you observe that state, and then your observation of that state
is what determines changes what it's actually going to do, what determines the reaction you're going to get because you're observing it.
Hey, it's interesting you guys are touching this subject. It's like, I remember somebody gave a theory, say that all reality as we hear on this platform, right? There are basically many universes where this quote unquote potentially could have happened. But for us having this conversation right now, basically all those quote unquote parallel universe doesn't exist. Why? Because we made this happen.
Well, you know what? I like you now, Fastin. Hey. Not because of what you just said, but because of what you just said. Meaning, in the sense that every decision that's made at any particular point creates a new universe, which branches off from whichever one you are existing in. So
you remember that TV show called Fringe? Fringe? There was a TV show back in the day.
Fringe. Yeah, I've seen it, of course. Yeah, that shit was hot.
That's why.
Now, it's basically the same thing. It's basically anything you think about, or that we all think about in tandem, determines a new universe.
Yeah, and that's why.
And it determines the universe that we are in now. Like, had you not said that while we all were thinking that, it would have created a completely different new universe, which we would exist in now. All the other ones would still exist in every other dimension, but the dimension that we're in now, which we live in, would be the path that we take.
Yeah, and that's why this some physician says, based on that understanding alone, or this way of looking at things, time travel it's not something that you can do. Why? Because what has been, you can't go back. because we're moving forward. You see what I'm saying? If this reality already exists, you can't unchange it. Why? By you quote unquote trying to change it, you're gonna create a new reality because you see what I'm saying? You can't go back to what was because based on that idea, that parallel universe, you can't unchange it, right?
Okay.
So it's the motion of how this reality goes.
Okay. I'll extrapolate on what you just said. The reason why time travel into the past can't happen is because you can't go back down the same exact line of decision that we already went up. So
Okay,
if you were to go back,
hold on real
it
quick.
would be a completely different path than the one we exist in now.
All right,
Or the one that exists for us now.
Hold on real quick. Hold on.
All right, go ahead.
No. So yeah, now we get into it like the real shit. All right, so
okay, yeah, and that's what I like.
Travel. So time travel, is it possible?
No.
Only for it.
I'm with it.
Only for it.
All right, so hold on. Let's go one by one. Herb Gotti says no. Fasting, what do you say?
No, I say yes.
No, it's impossible.
Herb says yes. Fasting says no. Lasher, what do you say?
Okay. Time travel from this particular point, I think that we live in all times simultaneously.
Yeah, I believe that too.
So was that yes or no?
It's neither. It's maybe.
Okay, cool. All right. So, Fatal, what about you?
But I want to talk about time travel because I got a book I'm writing on time travel as well. So
okay,
go
all right.
ahead.
So we don't want to spoil it for you. Then yours will remain to be seen. We'll read it in the book. All right, Ranger, what about you?
I say it's possible.
I say it's impossible.
I say time traveling forward is possible.
Not
from
even
every decision made.
Because
time traveling from the point that we at, if we go back to Zeno, right, who wrote the time travels in the arrow towards the future.
Yeah, but hold on. If it's like you said, where all time existed, what's the name? Time is not. I forget who it was. Time is not linear, but it's what not relative, but relative.
No, time is relative, but it's not linear.
Yeah, it's not so being that it's
linear.
So time is a loop. Time is a loop, not a line.
Yes, yeah.
Time is linear to our personal perspective.
That's what I'm saying. So
but
yeah,
time as actual
I agree with you on
thing
that. So time
itself. No, time is not linear. All time exists at all time, all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. So from a human understanding and reference point, time is linear because we're born, we die. Only way we can understand time is straight line, whether it's before, now, or after. That's all you can really comprehend, and what I'm saying, for the most part, the regular human being, right? The same thing with animals.
Man's comprehension, yes.
So can I jump in here for a second?
Go ahead.
So with time, this is what I look at, and this is based on an experience that I've had with dreaming, where you dream.
You're borging pretty bad, bro.
You're borging out.
Yeah. So for time, this is based on experience I've had with precog dreaming and me researching it and talking to other people who has precognitive dreams, where you dream something that's that happens exactly as you dream it, right?
So
no
deja
deviation. Right.
Is that Is that deja vu?
So well, it's not really deja.
Your May view.
Well, yeah. So here's the thing about it, right? Here's the theory I'm working on. Time is like a book, right? The entire book already exists, and the way we're experiencing it is we're flipping from page to page. The only way time travel will be possible is if we figure out how to jump pages. But however, the problem with that is if you jump pages back, you, as Lasher said, you're going to change the current state of things that has already happened.
Not just change. You're gonna destroy it. You're gonna destroy it
completely. Yeah. Well, not destroy. It just that time period will be its own time period that you would not have access to.
Yeah.
from
That's
that
what
point
I'm saying.
on.
But then you go back and you have the effect of where, like, say, you go back and you change one thing as far as like kick a rock or step on a bug, and now
The
you
butterfly
change.
effect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
butterfly
you
play,
literally- you literally-
the sound of thunder.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? I want to touch on what the brother he said. He said about like he's here about time, right? Now I
Hey,
know.
excuse me.
Hey, Mr. Fender, I wanted to add into what the brother was saying earlier about his was a theory about how time travel is like he used the analogy of a book, right? Like I said, what I'm about to say, I know people already know, right? In the Bible, it talks about that God he lives outside of time, right? It says God said he lives outside of time, right? So from his perspective, everything is already finished when it comes to what we're going through. So us being on Earth, it's like a movie, right? When you watch a movie, the production already made it, right? You get the actors and everybody, right? But when the movie's playing, that's a reality in itself. But the movie's already done, right? You're watching it like 2 years, 5 years later. So in a way, if you want to look at it, the people who are outside of the only way to quote unquote time travel, it's the observer from outside of quote unquote the movie, because I can fast forward back, I can watch what happened in the past, fast forward into the future. But the thing is, you cannot change it. Why? Because even the Bible says if the devil knew what will happen, he would have not done what he's done. So from the Bible's perspective, even if you were able to observe time, you cannot change it. It's impossible. It's
Okay,
already.
let me bring it back real quick. Let me bring it back to the science aspect of it. So this is my theory as to why time travel just isn't possible forward or backwards. Of course, if it's not possible backwards, because like you said, if you go back and you change anything in the past, you therefore disrupt the time. You disrupt several things, and you don't know what the effects would be, and you either collapse time within itself and just completely destroy everything after you, like completely destroy it, or you would change things so drastically that it would be catastrophic, current results for your past time travel. The reason why you can't travel into the future is because simply, I mean, it's kind of like the same concept, because like it just hasn't happened yet. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You being there, the whole bullshit they gave us in what was the one where we went in the future? What was a futuristic time travel versus back to the past? 'Cause everything always goes from the future to the past, and I think that too is one of the things too to keep you just off track of it. But
Back to the Future went to the future.
Say again.
Back to the Future went to the future.
You say what? Back to the Future go to the future?
Yeah,
Yeah, they did. He went into the past and then went to the future and came back to the present. And then
the thing
But
is,
in Planet of the Apes, they went into the future, and then Cornelius and them came back into the past.
God damn you, dirty apes!
No. Because the thing was, they found the spaceship that crash landed. Cornelius and them found the spaceship, and like Dr. Zayas, so one of them was like a scientist, so he knew enough science to get it going. And when they blew up the Earth in like 39, whatever, they had launched the ship, but the shockwave pushed them into the past, where Charlton Heston and them, they were doing tests of traveling the speed of light, and they went into they thought they had traveled to a distant star, when actually when they were traveling to the speed of light, they were actually manipulating time itself, and
I'm glad you said that. So is light speed travel time traveling? Is that one and the same?
Yes.
I think
yes, it is. Einstein proved this.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Because all right, have y'all ever heard of the paradox of the twins?
Yeah. The grandfather paradox, the paradox of the twin.
Not the grandfather paradox. The paradox of the twins.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm familiar with them.
One place, another one travels at the speed of light. He only aged
one stayed on Earth. The other one was an astronaut.
Yep.
And the one that left the Earth and went far away from the Earth and came back was younger than his brother that stayed on the Earth. Because time is relative due to gravity on a planet. So it's just like what's that movie, that Nolan movie, Interstellar.
Yeah,
where
Interstellar.
when they landed on the planet, and he was like, every hour here is like 7 years on Earth. And
Well,
when they finally they got the ship working and they got back to the ship, dude was like 23 years older. The brother, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that's time dilation, really. They
Time
mischaracterized
dilation.
that.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
Neil
Wasn't
deGrasse
really
Tyson
time
said that
travel.
was actually an accurate point that they brought out in Interstellar that a lot of people give credit to. And then also too, like in Star Trek, when they say time travel, the theory of the way you use time travel is you have to get to maximum. You have to like maximum warp is, well, most can do like not like if you want Voyager, you can do 9.97, and then you go to the sun, and then you break around the sun, but you travel so fast coming around it that you're actually traveling faster, because the rule is you can't go faster than like warp 10.
Yeah,
but
because
you kind of go.
you use the gravity well of the sun as a slingshot to get speed. And once you come around that star and come back around, you're younger than the people who are on a planetary, like a rock, basically, and they're still younger because they are trapped in their own gravitational time on that planet.
But here's
the way that Voyager, there was one episode of Voyager when they got the Delta Flyer to do warp 10, right? They were existing in every Tom Paris was existing in every time period at the same time.
But here's another theory. I'll look at it like based on even what you're saying, it cannot work that way. Why? Because even according to science, it says even the galaxies, everything is subject to time. So in order for you to time travel, you have to be outside of time. So you can how can you defeat how can you break the law of time when all the luminaries, the whole cosmos is subject to it? So you have to. That's why when they talk about wormhole, they talk about going in a dimension that's outside of this. The theory, they say, well, maybe this wormhole will lead us to like outside of this what we call prison per se. So even if you look at it that way, even light is subject to time. That's why you have the idea.
Oh yeah, definitely light is subject to time.
I think you can go back in time. The reason why I think that is because if you look at the Mandela effect, it may not be your memory. It just may be something they traveled back and they set it back in time. That may not be your memory. It may not be a memory issue. They literally might have went back and changed it. Like traveled back and changed it.
Hold on, wait. What? You said the Mandela effect?
So everyone
the Mandela effect. Okay, yeah. So can I run with this or?
Yeah.
So everyone looks at it as a memory issue, but is it a memory issue or a travel
changes dimensions?
Basically, Mr. Fantastic. When people say the Mandela effect, it's an idea.
I know what it is, but I'm saying, but now hold up. Now he's saying that the Mandela effect isn't not just a memory issue, but it's a time travel thing. No, but
it always was.
So basically, they're saying right, like you know how we cannot remember stuff. So they say maybe you went back in time and you changed something. That's why you may forget.
No. Faster. Can I explain this?
Because there are a lot of people who give different point of view on it. So
okay, basically the Mandela effect is that going back to how we were talking earlier about when you make decisions and every decision that you make puts you in a different time period. At some point, time split. Where say for some, you remember the Bernstein Bears?
Yeah.
Spell it.
Yeah, I know that the way it should have been BEARN Stein, STEIN Bears.
Bernstein Bears, not Bernstein Bears. Everybody we know, know it as the Bernstein Bears, the Bernstein Bears.
Yeah.
With that Stein, like Jewish Stein. So
yeah.
But as of some point in the 2000s, it changed, and now it's the Bernstein Bears. And then when you go back and you watch you go on YouTube or whatever it is, you go back. I literally, I got a 5-year-old daughter. I had to go in her books. I'm like, Bernstein. And I'm like, no, mom and pop. It was mom and pop Bernstein, not Bernstein. So,
No, see, that's why I
so,
say, like,
and that's what I'm talking about.
that's what I say,
It's just like
Mandela.
the really was called the Mandela effect,
Yeah.
is because supposedly people thought that Nelson Mandela died in like 1989 when we all knew he would. But after this time period that split, supposedly uh, Nelson Mandela, he was alive until recently, but
What basically meant the Mandela effect is like, what's his name? You know, when Dave Chappelle came back and then he's all swole, they say, well, what if Dave Chappelle was cloned? You know, because we remember Dave Chappelle was skinny. Or what's his name? The rapper guy who came back and he looks different. They say, is this was it Gucci Man or what was it? So
Yeah,
like
Gucci
that's
Man.
yeah, like the whole thing about Mandela effect. That's where like, that's why the people who came up with the quote unquote Mandela effect are the people who basically the ruin for us tinfoil had. Like they're like just out to the stratosphere with this. I'm like, there's no like even if you're quote unquote conspiracy theorist, the Mandela effect point of view, it doesn't even stand. It doesn't have any leg to stand because it doesn't make any sense. Like because we as people, we forget, we don't remember everything that happened to us. So they're trying to use a perspective, like, because they know like living in a Western society, we're moving at a fast pace, so a lot of people don't remember stuff that happened. So it's like, if you'll be like, wait a minute, like you remember that movie where this actress, she won an Oscar, she would say, you really, really like me, right? So they were saying like people have remembered like you really, really like me. Why? Because they've seen TV shows where they're repeating the same line, and then when you actually watch the Oscars, she never actually say that. She say a different way. So people say, oh, maybe the Mandela effect. No, it's just that just because you see the news saying the same thing over and over doesn't mean it's an actual thing. That's what they can do on the news now. They will say, the keyword 9/11 was an inside job, right? They say, well, he said this, he said this, but then you go back in time, right? And you listen to it. Wait a minute, he never said it. So basically, what the Mandela effect, to simply put it, it's a way of saying things you don't remember is because something changed or something went back and changed. But that don't make sense because we as people, we don't remember everything. We forget.
The only issue, the only rebuttal that I have to that is, if it was individual, I would say you're 100% correct. But because it has such a it's because it affects so many people based off numbers. How do you affect how people remember something in large numbers if you don't travel back and change it?
No,
All I'm saying.
so let me jump in here. Right. So it's more of a psychic thing, a psychological thing, right? So the way the human memory works, like when we remember something, right, we see images in our head. However, that's not how our brain stores it. What our brain is doing is it's kind of like a computer where it's reading what it's stored and it's creating an image for us. So what you may have, and since our brains function the same way, we may certain things we may remember in the same way, such as the Bernstein instead of Bernstein. But it has nothing to do with someone going back in time. It has to do with how our memory work and how it extrapolate information from our neurons. And because our brains are made up the same way, we remember things the same way. And so you have what seems to be like a mass a change. And the only way we could explain it is by saying, oh, well, somebody must have time traveled. But if that was the case, right, we would not have those memories, right? Only that person who time traveled would have known the difference that was created based on the time travel. So it's just us, just our brains, the way our brain is putting the information together for us. And since we think very similarly and our brain operates very similar, we perceive the things that we're remembering in the same way, but it's not really time travel.
But you want to know why? You want to know why it's not even time travel? Government. You watch TV, news media, so you told how to think. So of course they can come and say, "Well, we never say that." They can make information disappear. They can come and say, "Well, we never told you there was the pandemic. You just crazy. You're on drugs." They can make this whole thing that happened this year disappear as it's never happened. That it was just a fiction. They can do it.
Okay. All right. Let me cut
That's
in
insane.
here. I don't mean to cut you off, Fatal, and I don't mean not to do. I mean to cut you off.
Oh no, go ahead, man.
Okay. Now that we're talking about time travel and we've gotten into the tinfoil hat thing with aliens and all that other shit, what do you think about John Titor? Are y'all aware of John Titor?
Who's that?
I'm not. Go ahead. Tell us about him.
Fantastic. I like it for you to look him up so you can bring it up. But
spell it for me.
John, John Titor, John Titor. Now, John Titor was a man who came onto the interwebs, internet, or whatever you want to call it, in late 99, early 2000. And he said that he was from the year 2036. He said that there was a civil war that happened in our late 20s. So we in 2020 now, going into 2021, and I can kind of believe that a civil war could happen. But he said the reason why he got on is so that he can find an older computer, like an older, what was it? Yeah, it was like an older IBM computer, a Unix computer, actually, so that he can rewrite code in 2036 to help, keep all the traffic of the internet and everything going later, so that we can recover from the civil war that we had in the United States. Now, seeing that most of y'all guys don't know about it or believe in it, I'm skeptic about it to begin with.
He's not the only one though. Like, now that you explain who he is, he's not the only one. There's a lot of videos about people who claim that they came from. Usually they'll blur their face because they don't want to, like there's this one. It's like a young man. I think he's like what, in his 20s, that he came from the future.
Yeah.
6 years in the future, and he's basically saying this is what's going to happen about technology. And he said he's trying to go back, but I guess he's like, man,
like he's trapped here.
Like, yeah, that he's trapped here. But to me, I'm like, hey, I'm
telling you,
like 12 monkeys.
And that's my thing. But hold on, that goes against what we all say. If you're telling you came from the future, you literally destroy existence. That's just my theory.
But what John Titor was saying, that he came back on this particular timeline because this timeline wasn't destroyed enough to have, so that he will be able to procure the computer, the Unix level computer that he needed to reprogram code in the future to keep it from crashing later on and keep the internet from crashing.
And that doesn't make sense.
That goes into that Mandela effect. He trying to go in. He from the future, gonna come back, change the past, and how we remember how we see things in the future. To me,
it wasn't so much that he wanted to change what we see in the future. He just wanted to get the equipment that we have now, that after the Civil War that's coming in the next 5 to 6 years won't be available, so that he can make it that the future is viable.
Didn't he say that he actually crashed back in the 90s? So he's been stuck here for a few years. He came back like you
think about 12 monkeys.
No. There is another guy on YouTube. Like, his video has like millions of views, where he had the voice changer. Basically, he said that.
You talking about the young guy?
Yeah, like there's one guy like this white. He's in his 20s. He said he was in his 20s. He was like a student or something, whatever, that he was working. And then he said how he got in time travel. Like, he wasn't smart enough to know what time to go. He just said, I need to go back a few years, right? Back in the past where technology was kind of advancing. So he just happened to, like, he actually didn't crash in the time that he wanted to. So he basically, quote unquote, arrived in the U.S. time in the 90s. So he said he's been here since the 90s, and he knew exactly about. Well, he's claiming that he knew how technology was going to advance, the the computers and all that stuff. How everybody's going to have computers in the home and stuff like that. So, like I say, hey, it's been there for years. Since YouTube is, I mean, the time travel community has been there. Like, I'm everywhere, man. I'm everywhere. Yeah, I'm crazy. So,
So here's the issue I have with that premise, right? Computers are ubiquitous, and the Unix operating system is ubiquitous. Even if you had a
because
nuclear
disaster, that's what we make our Linux is based off of Unix.
Right. So for him to be looking what year did he say he come from?
He came from the year 2036. I'm sending this fantastic right now.
Yeah,
so
that's like,
post it up.
That's like 15 years away, right? So in 15 years, you mean every computer on the planet have been destroyed where he can't get his hands on a Unix computer?
I guess
that doesn't make sense.
Supposedly it was kind of one of those how y'all remember Y2K, something to that effect, but with Unix systems they end in 2036, not 2000.
Nah, see, as a computer guy, that doesn't fly. Like if you don't understand computers, then that would make sense, because the Unix operating system, right, has nothing to do with the computers itself. Now I remember hearing something about that and I dismissed it, but once you started talking about it, I started jogging my memory, and I do remember that. And the reason I dismissed it was the fact that
I just dropped the link in the in the chat, just so you can go check it out, baby.
So 2036 is only 15 years away. The minds that exist today that can create Unix, if you look at Linux itself, right, it's a open source operating system. You can write code for it. You could tweak it, and you have there are millions of people all over the world that take part in this, right? So you mean not one person exists in that time frame that could rebuild the operating system? No,
we did get to almost 1998 without the Y2K thing. I mean, I had a Mac at the time. I had a PC and a Mac at the time, and my Mac was ready and my PC wasn't.
Yeah, so understand what Y2K was, right? Y2K would not have wiped out computers.
No, it wouldn't it would just wiped out a bunch of data.
No, it wouldn't. No data would get lost. What happened with Y2K is that when the time chip on computers were created, it was created to go all the way up to December 31st, 1999. Right? No one, I don't know why no one thought about, hey, maybe we should just make it go to the year 30,000, right? So every chip that was being created based off of that IBM chipset was being created with that same code.
On what you just said, there is a project called the Year 10,000 Project, but continue.
Yeah. So with that said, what would have happened is your computer date would have reverted back to like 1960 whatever, when Unix was first created, because there would be no date after 1999 if they didn't go back and fix the code on the time chipset. So all they had to do, all of this work that was being done, and I was a big part of it, I worked for a big bank at the time, was so that the next morning when people, let's say January 1st, 2001, if you went to the bank and tried to put your card in there, it wouldn't recognize you, because the dates on your that you created your account would have not existed yet. So you wouldn't be able to take out money because it can't verify you. That's all would have happened. None of the data would have gotten lost. Nothing would have. The computers would have still worked. The only problem is the dates would be wrong on them. That was the only thing with Y2K. It wasn't going to destroy data or anything like that. Data was never at risk of being lost.
Okay. Well, hey, fellas, we have reached the end
of the normal run of the show. I greatly appreciate everybody coming through, especially Lasher. Appreciate you, Lasher, for coming through, bro.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Make sure you guys sub to Lasher, man. Thank y'all for coming through for another wonderful Tinfoil Tuesday. We shall catch y'all on the next one. Don't forget, if you want to, cop a shirt. We got the merch out there. Y'all know how we get down, man. Holla.
I need